Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Console Gaming League Grand Finals week for the Xbox multi-tier tournament. I'm Corbec, joined here in the production booth by ItsMeChis with our wonderful producer, Joker, handling both productions and lobby. Thank you so much for doing that, bud. Really appreciate all the support. We've got an absolute screamer of a match coming down the way for you here in these Grand Finals. It's the Cracked Crackers at the #1 seed versus the Flying Gorillas at 3rd seed here. We should be getting ready to start in just a second, but how are you doing today, Chis? How are you feeling about some Overwatch?
I'm feeling fantastic. I mean, every day is a great day for some Overwatch, but especially at, that tier 5 Grandmaster level, I'm really excited to see what the top of, console Overwatch really looks like.
Oh, for sure. Well, of course, keep in mind at home, folks, this isn't the Tivi top to Tier 6 finals for EU and NA will both be tomorrow, but this is about as close as you can get in terms of pure skill. These are some of the best players on the sticks, and no doubt they'll put on a bit of a showcase for us here today. So it's some good looking stuff here as we get ready to get started on Lijiang Tower. Lijiang Tower, just kind of the favorite map of a lot of teams when it comes to this control section. Certainly the favorite of the pool we've had for this finals week. What are your thoughts kind of going into it? What do you expect to see here?
I definitely think we're going to be seeing some pharmacy, just knowing the teams that are playing against each other today. They do like to bring that out, but don't be surprised if we're also going to see some double shield. We've seen a lot of teams run variations of double shield across an entire bevy of maps. So Lijiang is no different there. We're definitely going to see some double shield, but it does open its doors to some variation, which I'm excited to see.
It sure does. Well, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you can actually watch the other final that is going on right now over on CGL1, hosted by Bullskunk and Billy. Nearly called them Bill Skunk and Bully, which would actually be a pretty funny reversal. But they're hosting the Tier 4 finals, which do in fact feature another Flying Gorillas squad. I don't know what they call themselves as an entire grouping, but they are over there right now playing for the Tier 4 prize as well. I do understand the stream is lagging a little bit. Unfortunately, connection issues. We can only do so much, but we'll keep casting it apace. There's, again, only so much we can do, unfortunately. Hopefully, we'll be ready to start here in just a second. It's interesting what you were saying, Chis, about Lijiang Tower, kind of the propensity to run the pharmacy, very strong on this map. Very hard to counter at times, too. I mean, we look at somewhere like Night Market with a plenty of openings, kind of dipping and ducking around those windows to pump in fire makes it very difficult to pin down because, of course, also the perennial risk of going outside to challenge the Pharah and getting booped off the edge of the map, right? So it takes a lot of focus off. The only map I think, or stage, if we should call it that, where I think we wouldn't see a Pharah, right, would be Control Center, where we usually tend to see kind of a bit more brawly composition.
Absolutely. And back to your point on night market, that just the edge around the point and the open air you have all around it really does open it up for some pharmacy action. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see somewhat of a brawly comp with maybe a hit skin in there to counter that Pharah because the point itself is somewhat enclosed and there will be teams who know how to take advantage of that. So I'm excited to see what strategies these guys come up with today, clearly knowing how they play well against each other.
Indeed. Well, it looks like we will be entering the map here. Hopefully, we can get our connection issues fixed just a little bit. Not a lot we can do about it, as I've said. Uh, I'll bang the router with a hammer. Hope that it works. And we'll get a good indicator here of how this is going to go. Now, funny enough, just very first map will be the indoor section. It's Control Center there, not lending itself well to the Pharah gameplay. So we'll probably be seeing something more on the brawly end, I imagine.
Absolutely. And already as things are kind of coming out, we're seeing the Flying Gorillas come out now with that double shield composition. So, right in there. But interestingly enough, it looks like Cracked Crackers are, nope, they will be going with that double shield. Both teams running a Brigitte and a Baptiste. Those armor packs are deadly. But yeah, somewhat of a mirror match. It looks like a little variation in the DPS. So I'm very excited to see how things shake out here.
Yeah, the Brig armor pack's so valuable for the flankers. The Scoldy there on the Echo, and of course Jupe on the Genji, both going to benefit heavily from Brig's ability to keep them up through the fights. This is part of the reason the nerf came down the pipe recently, and we'll see if that sticks. But looks like they're heading into the first engagement, Chis, so I'll turn it over to you.
All right, and right away you're going to see a rock coming from that Sigma over the top into a halt, but unfortunately no value going to come out of that. Both teams just kind of jockeying for space right now as they will fight on either side of the true center of the control point. No real damage coming through, some damage going on to the DPS on both sides, but no real value yet. It looks like just a poke war at the moment, but we are seeing ultimates get charged up somewhat quickly. And there we go. Cameroon are going to take down that Immortality Field. Cordal's going to finish off Spark Jeep, and now Hooks is in trouble as Camerooner and Jupe are going to take out another two, and this fight should be a wrap.
Oh, it was a good win there. I think one of the big problems, we saw Scoldy on that Echo kind of playing the outside edge, but as the team was aggressing on Chis, I feel like we never really saw the Echo kind of pushing in unison with them to a certain extent. Part of that might have been the fact that we had Ripple there on the outside, just kind of shutting down any pressure that's coming in, and certainly Scoldy has their work cut out for him here.
Absolutely, and as you say that, you can see Scoldy now pushing around. He's going to challenge Ripple, and he will get him. And on the flip side of that, though, we will see the window come out, and now Chicken pushing up to take advantage of that. Jupe already with 2 on the Dragon Blade. That's going to be a 3rd with Camerooner, and this should be a team fight win. However, Q2 and Matamata going to come back with some picks, but too little, too late, and it looks like Crackers will be hanging on to the point. However,
say that
Scoldy and Q2 now looking to see what they can do with both Chicken and Camerooner getting thrown up. Camerooner hanging on for dear life at the moment, and now it's just Chicken all alone on the point. He's going to stall and wait for his team to get back. Ripple is going to get his revenge there. Bob comes out, and it looks like Crackers will hang on, even through those ups and downs.
I'll tell you what, there for a moment I really thought Scoldy was going to turn it around on that Echo, but yeah, as I suspected, that ult more of an ability change, or a character change I should say, use of the ability rather than actually hoping to derive significant value from it. But starting with the rally here as they push in, a very aggressive attack. Great pull too into that as well, just to get up in the air and do a little bit of damage.
Phenomenal job, but even better job by Brian right there to get that Immortality Field out. And they're going to hit him big as Camerooner and Brian come back. They're going to take down that Immortality Field, get maximum value out of that Gravitic Flux. Scoldy's in a bit of trouble here as Jupe and Camerooner are pushing onto him and Hooks, but Hooks should be able to get out of there just fine with Matamata backing out and luckily getting away.
Beautiful piece of play there by Camerooner to make that pop off, but they've still got a chance here. Beatdown Bongos are out. Push coming in hot and heavy again. Have to be a little bit careful on the outside edge though. Q2 in a bit of danger.
And here comes Matamata with a big pulse bomb. That's 3! That's a 5-6K from Matamata. Dear God, that man is on fire right now.
Oh no, Matamata crushing that 99% right there and turning it around for his team. What a beautiful play by the Tracer. Huge stick and then getting the final kill at the end. You don't see 6Ks very often, I tell you what.
Especially not at this level of play, but that was phenomenal. You just saw him coming around that middle point on the control point, and he had their number, stuck it right onto the back of Chicken, I believe, and just farmed the rest of them. Although Big Hulk coming out with a window, this is going to be high damage for both sides. Chicken having to back around here. He doesn't want to take the full brunt of their window as well. Matamata doing a good job to harass, but Spark Chief in a bit of trouble. Matamata goes down to Juke with Spark Chief shortly behind. Q2 is going to be taken down, and things look like they're swinging in favor of the Crackers.
Oh, Matamata can't do it all the time. Something really interesting there, I think, is Ripple's Bob absorbed so much focus and attention from the Flying Gorillas right there. They had no choice. They put multiple cooldowns into that. Multiple abilities were sent out. They turned to face it. They had to deal with it. It took a bunch of damage off the front line. It was a really well-placed Bob. Combined with the Dragon Blade, it was just a little too much. So great plays coming out there from the DPS. But again, amazing stuff from Matamata, and also a huge play by Camerooner earlier on, popping the Gravitic Flux, coming up over the top and destroying the Immortality Field as well. Just great play all around, and hopefully we see some more of that high-flying DPS action there from the Flying Gorillas, at least Matamata. I'd love to see another close to a 6K. Like I said, that's a rare feat in this day and age of Overwatch, a more slower-paced game.
Absolutely, and it looks like Mata is going to be opting for the sim here. We are going to get the pharmacy we talked about, so I have a feeling we're going to be seeing, you know, a little more brawl on point. They have the sim, a Reinhardt instead of the Orisa. They're going to TP straight away, and they're already on the point now. It looks like they're going to be moving up to engage. Chicken taking a bit of damage, but he's going to get healed up. Ripple in trouble as well, though, but it looks like they'll be healed up as well. And now comes the brawl on point. Which team is going to be able to take things out here? As you do see Jupe on that Genji, he's going to be trying to dive in there and cause some havoc. But it looks like for the time being, Flying Gorillas will be holding on to that point.
Yeah, they can't really push into the front door here. Chicken just doesn't have the shield life to really get around. Obviously a little bit worried about the turrets as well, but it's a good window there. Might make all the difference here, Chis. That's a lot of damage and a good pull as well.
Yep, the immortality comes out. Ripple too, but we're going to see Scoldy counter with a barrage to no real effect. Ryan Guy is going to be very low here. Will eventually go down, as do Scoldy in Q2, and that's going to be a Cracker's flip of the point.
The Cracker's patience really paying off there, waiting for Bryax to get that window, throwing it down in the doorway. An amazing pull by Chicken there to get the majority of the team together. And then Ripple's Dynamite coming out and just sort of finishing the job. I understand why Scoldy threw in the barrage. I mean, it was a good opportunity as to turn the fight around. But in a sense, Chis, it almost felt like it was a bit squandered. They didn't get a lot of value out of it. And you wonder if they couldn't have held on to that and maybe set up a bigger play coming up.
Absolutely, and speaking of a bigger play, we are about to see quite a few ultimates online here for the side of Flying Gorillas. They're going to be pushing through, and Scoldy with a nice early pick on a Ripple. However, Q2 and Hoops both very low as well, but we're seeing a trade on both sides. A little bit of a chaotic fight as a three-man shatter comes through. Q2 in big trouble on the edge there, and it looks like Flying Gorillas are going to be taking over the point here as they have a major man advantage, and just Portal on point, not going to be enough to stall it out, and this is a Flying Gorillas point.
Yeah, Scoldy doing a good job on the outside edge, cleaning up damage, but credit to Bryax as well, playing that Baptiste so well on the side of Crackers. Did a great job saving his teammate's life from Spark Thief's charge. It wasn't enough ultimately in the end, but I do think it's worthy of some praise. Unfortunately, now Crackers are going to have to go in, or fortunately, I guess, depending on which side you're supporting, to a much harder defensive setup, and this rally will certainly help them do that.
Yeah, they're going to use that to initiate gears. They want to push up, but nice job by Spark Chief to create some space. Here comes Scoldy with a barrage over the top. No one just yet. Mata will take down Portal, but it's still a fairly back and forth fight. Ryan got in a bit of trouble. Immortality Field going to come out, but with Scoldy taking down Ripple and Bryant, this should be a done deal.
Yeah, you know, I was going to say that maybe Scoldy didn't derive quite enough value from that barrage. And wow, they are harassing them, just taking them all the way back to the spawn door there with a little goodbye kiss from Scoldy onto Chicken. I was going to say that the barrage didn't derive that much value, but the way that it split the team there was really what set up a lot of the ability to get that kill. And Cordal has now switched over to a Mercy. It makes a lot of sense. They're running a pharmacy of their own. Jupe taking up the duties there to try and get back in. And this is always the temptation, right? When you've got a pharmacy kicking off, you're going to try one of your own, and may the best Pharah win.
Nice hold there by Chicken as they're going to pull him down, and we're going to see Q2 have to throw out that immortality field with Chicken, Jupe, and the whole gang going in right now. They're picking up kills left and right. This should be a Cracker's point, and they're cleaning up very nicely out here. Pook at this point is just fighting to die, and he's going to go down, as will Ryan Guy, and it looks like things are flipping back in favor of Chicken and the gang.
Well, they did take it up to 99%, so good on them for that. Another great play there coming out of Cameruner to kind of turn things around. Now the advantage for Jupe here, or at least Jupe and the Cordal Pocket, is how much they can do with this Pharah. You've got to resist the temptation to kind of engage in the Pharah v Pharah like air battle, which is sometimes big. And so far it looks like Jupe is doing that. He's focusing the majority on of his damage on where the team, which is where it should be.
Yep, really nice job by him to use the geography on this map to hide himself, keep out of Mata's lines of sight, but Ripple going to get dangerously low, luckily going to get healed up there. We are going to see a flank here, though. Scoldy is looking for that sneaky barrage. He's aiming for that window now, and he's looking for any chance he has. A big shatter came through. We're going to take down Ripple with it. However, Scoldy coming through with that barrage is going to clean things up
finally
here. And unless something big happens, it looks like Flying Gorillas is going to be taken over here.
Yeah, and sure enough, they're going to try and get back on and contest. It's just not going to happen. CC'd out, and we'll be pushing this one onto his stage 3. Great play by Scoldy. Scoldy has been hunting just for a good barrage. That entire map basically was looking for one and finally got it when it counted the most to flip that point, because that was an absolutely devastating barrage. Maybe a little bit of an oversight there from Crackers. They had to have known that was coming. These guys are obviously good enough to be alt tracking. I just didn't know that they had the strongest answer to it realistically.
Yeah, I believe just looking back at that, you know, Jupe swapped onto that Pharah pretty close after Scoldy used a barrage, and I think they mistracked it, actually. I don't think they realized how much faster Scoldy was building up that barrage, because while Jupe was limiting damage he was taking, he was also limiting his angles of attack.
Well, these two teams kind of neck and neck here. Jupe coming back out, Pharahs and Ashes on both sides. Essentially mirror compositions here, and this is something we kind of expected. We'll see how they do engaging over here in the White Room. Spark Chief on the Rhine, that's the big difference maker here, Chiz.
Absolutely, it's giving them a little more brawl power, and you're already seeing, but as I say that, Jupe with a nice pick onto Scoldy, that's Pharah v Pharah there. Jupe with another onto Ron guy, and that is a major advantage now. Jupe gonna be able to hammer them from the back, and without that extra shield, they're gonna be in trouble. Spark Chief looking to go down here as he's very low. With Q2 down, things are pretty much a done deal, and it looks like this is gonna be a Crackers point.
Oh, well, I was just saying, usually you don't want to engage in those Pharah v Pharah duels, but I'll be damned. Jupe coming over the top there and making it stick. Some great shots there to take out his opposite number, and then a good shot to finish off the Mercy as well to just totally shut down Rhine Guy and Scoldy. And now the advantage solidly in favor of Crackers here, because they have the Orisa, which really allows them to kind of set the defensive position that they want. All the pressure now being put on Flying Gorillas to kind of attack into this. They're not going to expect people to come up and meet them.
Absolutely, and right now we are seeing that Pharah duel continue, but Scoldy's going to drop down here to give some support to Spark Chief so he can push through and really get value out of that Rhine. Right now, Immortality Field going to come out very early, Chicken going to take it down, and now Spark Chief and the gang are in trouble. He's going to go down to a barrage, but Q2 claps back, not before Ripple gets a double, and it looks like Crackers have cleaned up very nicely here. Nice job not taking too much damage, saving that Immortality Field on the side of Crackers when that barrage came out in the end.
Well, Scoldy threw in that barrage kind of at the tail end there. Maybe, yeah, again, it was for a swap. We've seen similar things before. Somebody I do want to give a little bit of credit to is Hux in the middle of that. Toss out an accretion that actually knocks Cordal out of a res. Great heads-up play by the Sigma. I mean, obviously it didn't turn the fight in their nature, but you've got to give credit where credit is due. It was well done.
Absolutely, and you know, definitely the level of awareness we want to see. Chicken now going to bring that Bongo out. He's going to be hiding behind. They want that window to go down, but Mata is going to take down Juke and the Bongo, and now they're in a little bit of trouble here. Spark Chief shatters against no one. However, Hoops is going to get a big slam there. Immortality saves them for the time being, but this is a very dangerous position now as Chicken goes down. Camerooner follows. Ripples one, and Bryant is going to go down as well. This is a Flying Gorillas point.
Yeah, well, that was a bit of an ugly fight. A good few ults thrown in there, and I think the investment of the Bob at the end by Mata, I was almost going to say was unnecessary, but in truth, the way it panned out was pretty critical, all things considered. Scoldy on this Echo, maybe adding a little bit of a dimension they don't like. They've actually switched Jupe off of the Pharah. They've gone over to a Brigida Genji composition here, giving up on that Pharmacy with 93% on.
Absolutely, and window now coming out from Bryant, but smart move by the Flying Gorillas. They're going to rotate around. However, Ripple, the nice headshot on Amata, going to take him down. A big Gravitic Flux is going to pick up most of the team. Immortality Field comes out to save them. A Shatter out, big, gets 3, but no kills just yet. However, Scoldy will finish off Chicken there. However, things are looking a little dire right now on the side of Flying Gorillas, taking a lot of damage. However, Spark Chief will finish off Juke. That being said, we're trading characters here. However, it is going to stay on the side of Flying Gorillas. They do a nice job to clean things up there. Got a little dicey, but I think overall they maintain control throughout that fight.
Yeah, it was a fairly equal brawl, I think, all things considered. A couple of good plays coming in there. Jupe doing his best to kind of capitalize on those armor packs, was really seeking a pick, but couldn't find it. And a great play there by Q2 to get the Immortality Field down when that Gravitic came out. Again, there's something to be said for kind of trying to drain those Immortality Fields, and neither side has really been able to do it yet.
Yup, but here we go. Scoldy actually going to swap onto that Sigma using Echo's ultimate ability. He's going to try to farm up that Gravitic Flux. Not before Mata is going to take down Chicken, who's swapped to the Reinhardt now. Things, though, very back and forth right now. Smart Chief does get a little low, and it looks like Crackers is going to hang on for the time being. Jupe with the Dragon Blade hasn't found anyone yet, but Ripples, Bob, and his Blade now are going to finish off most of the team. Things looking very strong here for Crackers. If Flying Gorillas can't touch in time, this will be Crackers up 1-0.
Only hope really is that they can get this Doomfist across. He'll come in just a half a second too late, Chis. That's painful on behalf of the Doomfist, and Crackers will take a well-deserved first map win, but my lord, I tell you what, Chis, there's not a lot in this one. These two teams very close.
Absolutely, that was incredible.
let's
here
just
we
watch
go.
this. Hold on, yeah.
Oh,
with the
beautiful.
pull as well.
That
What
was
a
beautiful.
monster. What a play. Clip it and ship it, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And look at Bryax. I don't know if you guys can see the cards on the stream, whether you can or cannot. He had 42% of his team's healing there on that Baptiste. Amazing play coming out of the main support in that situation. But you know what? To be honest with you, Chis, there was not a lot in this one. This was a very close match. I mean, obviously going to stage 3, right? They were pretty neck and neck up until the end. Double 99%, if I remember correctly, on those last 2 maps at least. And you felt that there were a lot of fights that could really go either way. I think the difference maker, at least for Crackers on Garden, was Jupe being able to really pop off with that Genji blade at the end, put in a lot of distraction, and kind of play the flanker how they're supposed to be played.
Absolutely, yeah. I think a positive difference maker in that last map was definitely Jupe. I would assume he is a leadership figure on his team because he seemed very comfortable playing on a variety of heroes and also just played them well. That being said, I think for Flying Gorillas, something I noticed is Q2 was pretty much throwing that immortality field out very early in team fights. And that was hurting them a lot later on when you have these big impactful ultimates come out like that Gravitic Flux. They were taking a lot more damage and they didn't have that crutch that is an immortality field later in the fight. So we'll see if that plays a big role in later parts of the series.
Yeah, so the immortality field really just presents it's such an interesting ability ever since they upped the cooldown time on it, right? You really have to be careful with how you use it. Something I was saying is neither team was doing a very good job of kind of baiting them out and getting rid of them. They were getting full value out of them, but I will agree. I think Q2s were coming out at maybe a little bit less optimal times than Bryax, and it could be the difference maker. I mean, realistically, looking at these teams, just the line between them is very fine, right? We're talking about a couple of hairs to the left or to the right for a lot of these team fights. A lot of the team fights kind of just descending into these brawls. Both teams kind of doing everything that we would expect them to be doing, right? Good use of cover, good use of ultimates. They're not really just throwing things out there and seeing if they stick. One aspect I think we could say, if we wanted to bring up a slight problem that Flying Gorillas has had, is they were having to force, I guess, changes on the DPS every once in a while, right? We saw Scoldy kind of having to throw an ult away so that they could switch over to something else. And you know, obviously it makes sense and you have to be flexible and switch up your team, but when you kind of toss those ults out, you're not getting a lot of value out of them, and it kind of messes up your ult economy a little bit, which can be, I think, detrimental.
Absolutely. I mean, like you were saying, with teams separated by such a fine line like this, something which can seem as minor as being behind on just one ultimate or putting out a immortality field maybe 3 seconds too early. When the teams are this close, those few seconds, those few percentages of ultimate
Yeah.
charge, those make an incredible difference down the line. And I think that's how Crackers got that edge was, yes, those weren't bad immortality fields, or yes, maybe it wasn't the end of the world to switch, but at the end of the day, they were able to get that edge out by a few percentage points at the end of the maps because they were taking those little wins here and there that added up in the end.
Very, very true. Now, going into our second map here, it looks like they've chosen Hollywood. That will be Flying Gorillas making the pick. Crackers have chosen to attack. And this is something that we talked about, over a couple of broadcasts here in finals week. But that choice, Chis, about whether you defend first or attack, is a difficult one. And now I'm sure there are some people who could probably tell you mathematically, right, there's got to be a better choice, as Bullskunk and I were talking about it this morning. And, your Overwatch genius, right, would tell you which one is better. But I do kind of wonder, like, at least in your opinion, which you would prefer. Do you attack or do you defend starting off on a map like Hollywood?
So, personal opinion, I always want to defend because then, you've already seen how half the map is going to go. You know how a team played one way. You can kind of then prepare yourself for your response a lot better. Because if you defend first, you know exactly how far they pushed it, and that is going to change your playing style. Because if they don't get it very far, you can choose to play a little more aggressively and then have time to, reset things, swap your comp if need be. That being said, if you are on attack first, you don't push it far, you're going to have to play a lot more conservatively. You're going to have to play smarter, and that can up the pressure in a match like this that already is high pressure.
Yeah, honestly, like that's a very good state, like a very true, and I'm right in that camp with you. To be honest, I think defending first, is really kind of the play in a lot of circumstances. You set a benchmark for yourself, right? Like this is how far we have to go. There is no kind of if, ands, or buts. I know some of my fellow commentators are of the opinion, right, that the attack that gives you momentum. If you really just put the boot in early on, you kind of set the team that has to go on the attack next on the back foot. But I don't know. You're playing a game of chance. But it's been close. It's a long series. There's still a lot in this, and I'm really curious to see how these teams play on a map that's outside of Control, because Control is kind of its own weird beast in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I like to think of controls kind of a pun intended controlled team deathmatch of sorts because it forces you to fight around a certain area, but at the end of the day, it truly comes down to, who's getting that numbers advantage outside of some scenarios where that means a little less. That being said, interesting choice here. I'm interested to see whether or not Cracker sticks with this composition because it looks like they're going for a little more offensively focused attack here. They'll be able to get that Discord out on Scoldy, and that's going to be a one-tap for Ripple, who we've seen do very well tonight on that Ashe.
Yeah, Cracker's basically running what kind of is becoming the meta composition for Owl, minus maybe the Hanzo trading him out in certain circumstances, but very much standard here with that Zenyatta, allowing you to do great damage in the poke phase. And that's what we need to watch out for here as we kind of enter into this extended poke phase. They have to get picks here. They have to derive some value from this, or that Zenyatta pick becomes less effective, but they get it right there at the start just to get us going.
Oh, Ryan got his pick as well. That's terrible for them. And Jupe is going to take down Scoldy with the Hanzo. My lord, Crackers is ready to rumble. Flying Gorillas already very much so on the back foot. However, Hooks is already back. Mata with two nice picks. They're going to be able to stall it out for a little bit, but doesn't look like they'll really be able to get another team fight out of this because of how clean the initial part of that engagement was.
Good lord. I mean, okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about, though. This is exactly what the composition is supposed to do, right? You do a ton of damage in the poke phase. They had barely even seen the other team when they took down the Orisa. Oh, it's a great pick there by Spark Chief, kind of in speaking of poke phases, but they had barely even seen the Orisa. They took her down, and now they're losing out, Chis. Apparently, even as they're talking about it, they're finding their footing on the other side there, the Flying Gorillas saying they're not going to go down so easy. You might have got that one off of us, but better luck next time.
Absolutely, and nice job there to get those two picks. It allows the Flying Gorillas to push up, create a little space, stabilize the situation, and now it's going to hurt the side of Crackers because they're not going to not be as comfortable trying to set up right now. They're pushing through right now, though, and doing a lot of damage as Hooks is going to go down, and now that's going to be a big pick. Here comes the Dragon Strike. Ripple takes down Mata. Juke going to take out the Immortality Field. This is pretty much a washed fight in favor of Flying Gorilla, or sorry, Crackers right now. Really nice turnaround there, and very quickly as well.
So they got to be very careful. They have to protect their Zen. Bryaxed a little bit there. He was taking a lot of damage, but Jupe on the peel manages to get Scoldy and Ryan Guy. Good job. Great play from the Hanzo there. That was a great Dragons there by Jupe. Straight down the gut of the streak. Kind of split the team. Forced him in over to that corner. Q2 had no choice but to use the Immortality Field. And honestly, after that was down, I kind of felt a little academic.
Absolutely, and now we're going to see a Bob come out, going to get some good damage in, but not before Bryant, and then we're going to take it down very quickly. Bongo comes out, Mata flying up there to take down Ripple, and now Ripple's got his fish in a barrel, so to speak. Here comes Scoldy as well. The trans comes out, but honestly, they're in a bit of a pickle here. Here comes Scoldy now swapping onto that Sigma. He's going to be able to charge up that Gravitic Flux incredibly fast. And this is just incredible right now. Nice job holding this corner here. Flying Gorillas in a decent position now. Nice Gravitic Flux. That's going to take down 2, actually, with one of them being taken out in midair. And Crackers having to back off a little here. They're down a support. They're taking a ton of damage. Cameruner Maze not actually going to be able to get out there in the end, and Chicken goes down as well.
Yeah, it's brutal stuff, to be honest. That was a fight that I think initially looked like everything was in favor of the Crackers there, but Flying Gorillas really digging in their heels and putting up a good defense. I love the play by Mata. It's the kind of, you know, solo DPS play that we would expect from them, getting up there on the high ground, getting the picks when they mattered, and kind of opening up the door a little bit there for, I think it was Hux, to get a relatively big Gravitic Flux on the backside. Even as he was discorded, because the DPS were down, there wasn't really too much they could do about it.
Yep, and beautiful halt there is going to take down Bryax. Really nice job there. That was just incredible. That must have been max range halt onto the Zenyatta. And that's really going to hurt Crackers. Now they're going to have to take off almost 15-20 seconds of the clock right now just to regroup. And they're still getting pushed over where they are. So there's no moment of peace here. Jupe going to go over the top, try to hit a shot. Doesn't land, and he is dangerously low. Lucky he's in relative safety at the moment. However, we are seeing Mata back on that high ground, going to challenge Cameruner. Ripple's there as well and is going to counter with a dynamite, getting some damage out onto Mata, who is getting a pocket though. But they now have Bob ready. They're going to use that to kind of contest that corner, take some space. Another Bob coming out at the same time from Ripple. And at this point, Bobs are just shooting at each other. Hooks and Spark are the target of Ripple's Bob, but we're seeing a whole bevy of kills as Ripple and Scold here are going to trade out with one another there. Bryax, nice pick though on a Spark Chief. Like you were saying, that's the bonus of having a Zenyatta. Chicken taking down the other support, and things are looking very good here for Crackers. However, Mata still on top of the jailhouse there. Big Gravitic Flux comes out, does some damage, but only gets Awesome Boy. However, Cameruner goes down to Scoldy. This is so back and forth and chaotic. Scoldy charges up another duplication, and he's going to get that bongo out immediately, and that's going to clutch things up there. Flying Gorilla's going to hang on here right at the wire.
I can't help but feel we're probably seeing a switch in characters here. No, Bryax is going to stay on the Zenyatta. That's interesting. The way that Transcendence was thrown out there at the end, Chiss, I really thought that was going to be kind of a throwaway ult, but with 60 seconds left, I guess they're not changing that up, just getting Jupe over onto that Genji. They have both tank ults to operate here with, and they have to... Oh, that's terrible. Oh, no.
That's
a huge pick.
Big. Oh yeah, that's gonna take them well below 30 seconds before they can reasonably, you know, engage again. And
that might have just taken out a whole push.
Exactly. I mean, beyond that, they also now lose a lot of valuable time to try and juice up that trans in the last minute they had. Now they're going to be under 30 seconds. They are taking damage, and we're seeing Mata already is going to be able to initiate with Bob here. On top of that, you're going to have Bongo, and you're going to have that Gravitic Flux. Lots of damage coming out here. Window comes out from Q2. He's hammering away at the other team. Scoldy going to vaporize Jupe, and Cameruner is in big trouble as well. Awesome Boy with the window coming out. Here's Gravitic Flux. Hook's in a bit of trouble now. He's going to survive that thanks to the Immortality Field. Awesome Boy goes down, as is Bryax, and this should be the end of the round in favor of Flying Gorillas.
It's a good hold by Flying Gorillas right there. Great play by the DPS, really coming out in that last stage. And also credit to Hooks as well. I mean, Hux was down there holding on to that point, even when things looked pretty grim. And it was basically him taking a stand that allowed his DPS to get out and make the plays about a push or two ago that kind of set up that 4th and long situation there at the end for Crackers. You know, to me, just kind of looking at it, it felt as if Crackers maybe just did not have a good place to go when they started to feel that their strategy was not working. They came out clearly with the intent of doing a ton of damage in the poke phase. They did it beautifully coming into the first point, quick cap. But then when it kind of started to slow down and when the pressure from the Echo became significant, their swaps were, they didn't really seem to know what to do, I guess, is how I feel.
Absolutely. And I think it also goes back to what we were talking about with this being such a fine line between the two teams, what seemed like kind of, minimal impact pick in that kind of between fight phase onto Bryax, I think two attempted pushes in a row. I mean, that built up, that probably cost them almost a minute off the time bank, and they were starting that streets phase with an incredible amount of time. So it really does go to show you that little mistakes at this level of play will really pile up in the long run.
Well, taking a look at it now, I mean, they're running almost identical compositions on both sides. The only difference is a change in DPS. So the poke phase is going to be huge here. This comp generally tends to favor defenders, so we'll see if the Flying Gorillas can break through here. Scoldy already through the choke chist to start us off, just getting up underneath.
Yup, and he's trying to crouch walk right now. He wants to minimize the noise he's going to make, but Scoldy is just going to be found out immediately. Tries to go up and find Bryax, but he's playing right next to his tanks in the middle of that formation to limit the damage he's going to take. But Awesome Boy has to use that Immortality Field early because he's in trouble. And so is the rest of his team. They're going to trade out those. Mata goes down, however, Bryax in a lot of trouble. Chicken goes down, and that's just going to be the entire cast of characters falling to Flying Gorillas.
Scoldy with 3 there, doing a spectacular job on that Tracer. Scoldy basically the big playmaker there, really, in a lot of ways. Chiss came up underneath, forced off the rotate, was immediately hunting for the necessary target, right? Bryax. And this composition, obviously, very strong in a lot of ways, a ton of damage, but it is incredibly fragile, or at least it feels that way. If you can't get those picks early on, your Zen and your Baptiste, if one of them goes down, especially the Bap, your ability to hold a position drops to just about nil. Tissue paper, basically, at that stage.
Especially in these poke-heavy comps where you are going to take damage. But Scoldy now with a nice dive onto Jupe, but Jupe with a beautiful shot to shut him down. However, Hooks is going to trade out Cameruner and Jupe, and wow, Flying Gorillas just turned that around instantaneously. Ripple getting another pick there, but not going to do too much for them as the cart keeps on moving. And with over 4.5 minutes and only, roughly 30 meters to go, it looks like Flying Gorillas are going to get a very quick cap here.
A Ripple trying to sell their life dearly in the back line there, just to give them a second to regroup, but they can't really take advantage of it. Looks like there's a little bit of miscommunication on when they need to come out the door. They're taking a really long time to set this up. Cameruner gets burned down almost immediately. The Dragons come out, and it's a very speculative Gravitic Flux there. Not a lot of joy on that, but my lord, I think that's just about curtains.
Yep, Bryax is going to go down immediately here, and that's going to be the cap. Beautiful offense there from Flying Gorillas. It seemed like a completely different team from that first map we saw.
Yeah, and this has been a consistent theme across a lot of our playoff matches that I've seen so far. These control maps often come out really strongly in favor of one side or another. And then the other team apparently just plays really good at other things. And Mata with a decent bob there. Great shot over the top, showing that aim. So good. Just waiting for Bryax. Oh, no. Hunted. It's like a scene from Predator up there on the high ground, just waiting for the right moment to boom. That was great stuff. But it's an interesting setup, and it's interesting to see these guys hitting on these mirror compositions here on the defense. If this is the kind of poke battle we're going to see for the rest of the night, it's not necessarily going to favor Crackers if that map is anything to go on.
Absolutely. And I mean, the way I think of it is I think Crackers actually was better at the actual poking. The issue for them, I believe, was, as soon as Flying Gorillas realized what they needed to do, they kept Mata on that Ash and then put Scoldy onto the Tracer to harass Bryax, who was, essentially an untouched cannon on that first push for a lot of it. And they realized, by pressuring Bryax, taking away their Zen, by forcing resources onto him, it really helped them in the long run. And it looked like they were almost playing 6-on-5 most of the time because of how well Flying Gorillas executed that counter.
It did, and again, something that should be said about Flying Gorillas right there is they did not give up, right? They did not give up the comp. There was never a moment where they felt like they were stuffed or where they had to change out. So it was a bit of a difficult situation for them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute howler here tonight. All sorts of exciting action. The Flying Gorillas and Crackers standing 1-1. A strong first map performance there by Crackers getting turned on its head by the Flying Gorillas coming into map 2. We're going to take a brief break here, but before we go, just wanted to update you on the status of the game going on over at CGL1. That's the Tier 4 Grand Finals. Currently, the Crazy 88s are up 1 against the Gliding Chimpanzees in overtime on Kings Row right now. But we'll be right back here in just a few minutes with more action as the Flying Gorillas and the Crack Crackers square off. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here. Console Gaming League multi-tier tournament playoffs, or grand finals week as it were. You're watching Xbox NA Tier 5. The Crack Crackers versus the Flying Gorillas squaring off here, currently tied 1-1. I'm Corbec, joined in the casting booth by XB1. We've got the lovely Joker handling our lobby and our production. Thank you so much, Joker, for stepping in and doing that. Really appreciate the effort. But an interesting match so far, XB1. We've really seen it's been pretty close. I mean, I think we can make an argument, right? Hollywood maybe a little lopsided, but certainly coming off the back of Lijiang, a really strong control map for Crack Crackers. Going into TCP now, and it looks like the Crackers have chosen Volskaya.
Yeah, and interesting to see how this goes. Again, going on the offensive here, so it'll be interesting to see if they can push things a little further than they did on their Hollywood offensive here. However, another decent map for Farah and Mercy, especially on point A of Volskaya. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that mirror come out again, and then with the other DPS also running an Ash to kind of counter that where they can.
Yeah, it's true. I've been loving the gameplay, to be honest. Everybody seeming to be playing at their top tier level, trying to get this out. We've seen the supports competing in maybe not the most direct fashion of shooting one another, but certainly in the fashion of out healing, out using of abilities. Very interesting stuff there. The tanks have been playing really well. We've seen great ults coming out from the off tanks, good shield placement, good positioning, and finally the DPS. I mean, if you had to tell me which DPS I thought was the best in the entire lobby right now, I don't know that I could tell you, XB1. They're all playing at a really impressive level.
Absolutely, and I mean, off the back of Matamata's 6K on Lijiang, we saw Soldi have an incredible performance on Tracer on Hollywood. So I don't even think in terms of Flying Gorillas we could say which of those DPS is better than the other because we've seen great play on the same characters from both. And then you look at Crack Crackers, Jupe is clearly their projectile specialist, but has done a phenomenal job to give his team value, while Ripple is also playing very well on the Ash. So it's really anyone's game at this point. However, Hollywood clearly a little lopsided.
Yeah, Hollywood was a little lopsided. I mean, it felt like it wasn't going to be right on the initial release. I mean, we saw Cracked Crackers come in. They did spectacularly on the attack. I mean, they cracked the defense, pardon my pun, within like half a second, right? Pushed forward. It looked like they were going to roll over, and then they just kind of died out in the streets phase. They couldn't really adapt their comp, and they just slowed down a little bit. Meanwhile, on the other side, Flying Gorilla is looking strong throughout, and I'm beginning to think if this is a matchup, the meta matchup, the mirror meta matchup, if we will use our alliteration to its fullest, I do think that the Flying Gorillas might have a bit of an edge.
I would agree with you, especially after seeing that last map. Like we were talking about, control is definitely unique compared to the other game modes in Overwatch. Whereas, hybrid, especially, I think is a far better kind of comparison to the others because you get a little bit of
Yeah.
2CP and then you get a little bit of escort. And so, if anything goes like Hollywood, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw somewhat of a role for the rest of this. That being said, I'm sure both these teams have prepared quite well. That was Flying Gorilla's map pick. This is Crack Crackers, so this could go either way.
Yeah, Volskaya, an interesting choice in the 2CP sphere. This is the first time I've seen it played in the matches that I've cast this week, all the finals that I've had a chance to look at. And it, it provides an interesting set of challenges, right? This is not an easy map to attack into by any means. It's one of the harder ones. Then again, all the assault maps, I would say, XB1, are evil in their own way. But Volskaya's particular brand of evil is that second point, which is really kind of squat but with very long sight lines and really does not give a team a lot of room to maneuver. You kind of are forced to walk straight into the damage lest you risk running around the outside edges and kind of putting yourself in some vulnerable positions for all sorts of environmental kills. Looking at these setups now, not quite going back to the meta we were talking about, XB1. Neither side running the Zenyatta here. aggressive looking Orisa composition coming out from Crack, though I think that Brigida is mostly to give Jupe armor packs, and we know he can capitalize on those. While on the other side, a very shooty oriented composition. I do wonder, Ryan Guy on the Mercy, this is a good kind of debate to have on whether the Mercy or the Zen is more valuable in a shooty comp like that.
Absolutely, and I think what they're looking for here is that damage boost on the Matamata. They're going to be able to get a lot of value out of him because he's just been hitting headshots like no other. Not to mention that damage boosted Dynamite is going to tear away at the other team. However, like you were saying, Jupe is getting a lot of value out of getting that armor pack and diving in. However, Chicken is going to get vaporized there for a little bit before he gets healed back up, and it looks like they're going to be opting to fight for that high ground, going all the way around and pushing right up. Fuchs is going to have to use his ability there to get away, and we're going to see Chicken, though, also in quite a bit of trouble. A lot of damage coming through. Jupe is one now. He's going to probably go down here. That being said, Chicken right behind him. He's in a very dangerous position. He's going to follow, and it looks like Flying Gorillas will take the first fight. However, we will get a bit of the ripple effect here as that headshot comes through and is going to take out a crucial DPS player for the side of Flying Gorillas. And now Ripple has that height and can just have free reign at firing away there. Nice Dynamite comes out on the Scoldy. He's going to take damage. And while we still see part of the team for the side of Crackers fighting, the other half now is going to take an opposing angle, and they're going to try to push from the high ground above that mini health pack.
Mata coming back in now, too, on the outside edge. But this fight really never ending, Chis. Watch for Mata on the backside, though. Ripple's looking for it, and that's Ryan Guy and Mata taken out early on here, Chis. Bad news bears if you're on the side of the defenders.
Absolutely, and a nice job cleaning things up here. Spark Chief is just going to say heck no and jump off, but Cameruner gets to him first. Q2 going to do his best there to buy a second or two off the clock, but to no great effect, and really nice job there. I mean, Ripple absolutely winning that duel. Sorry, with Mata, who had that Mercy boost as well, so that's a ton of value. I mean, effectively taking away part of an entire strategy, and Ripple again pushing for that high ground, and lots of damage coming through from both sides. Braxton a bit of trouble, but Scoldy with a one tap on the Ripple and to Jupe. Spark Chief finishes off Chicken, and this should be Flying Gorillas' fight.
Yeah, that was a bit rough there, to be honest. I think they maybe bit off a little bit more than they can chew. Maybe Ripple overestimated their ability to secure that high ground. Scoldy not giving him any time to think about it. Now, they do have a pretty solid combo on the side of the... Ooh, I had a pause there. Not sure exactly why, but... All right. Thought we might have been losing somebody, I think, from the game, but no, we're okay. Not in between fights, so it's not a significant problem. But as I was saying, they do have Hux there with the Gravitic. Scoldy with the all pretty good stuff here if they can make it work. Also, props to Joker there for the opening camera angle. Just saw that on the stream delay. I enjoyed the statue self.
Whoa. Nice job here. We're going to see Dragon's going to take down Bob. Scoldy kills the Blading Jupe, and that's a lot of value coming out from them. Scoldy with a 3K now. Mata going to finish off Cameruner, and this is another Flying Gorillas one team fight. The DPS there just absolutely popping off. I mean, 5 between the two of them. Scoldy took out 2 ultimates. He neutralized the Bob with his Dragons and took down Jupe Blading.
I tell you what there, Chis. I mean, the DPS putting on a bit of a showcase right there. Jupe getting murked in the back line. Scoldy got 3 in that fight, and Mata swung in as well. Jupe and Ripple need to just step up a little bit. I know they have it in them because they did it on the attack, but they've got to equal Scoldy and just kind of slow the roll here.
Yeah, and Bob's going to come out and do a lot of damage into that halted team. Immortality Field comes out to neutralize what they can, but Ripple is finally going to take down Scoldy, have a bit of advantage. Chicken taking down that Bob, and they're now going to be pushing up. Crackers here looking to take an advantage, but Hoops taking down Ripple. Short spawns, don't forget. And there with the res, we're going to see an advantage now on the side of Flying Gorillas as they're fighting around that corner now, looking to deal damage to kind of influence how this fight goes. Jupe is going to get hammered, but somehow makes it out. Cameruner not so lucky. Chicken goes down as well. Flying Gorillas somehow stabilized through all the chaos.
I tell you what, again, it was that DPS difference, but I mean, they threw out a lot of ults there. They used the dragons, they used the Bob, and they basically leveled out the ult economy between these two teams in that fight. Looking at the side of the attackers, really, they only have the Blade. They have Cameruner coming up as well. It's not a bad combo if they can get it off. On the other side, just the two tank ults. Spark Chief is getting there. Huck's a little bit farther behind, but Huck's probably not going to earn it until at least midway through this fight.
Yeah, and I think really the only way we're going to see a lot of value now is if they can force out the immortality from Q2 early. If they can do that, they have two potentially team-wiping ultimates at their disposal. But nice ult there to pull down Crackers off that high ground. Juke looking to take down the Bongo. Can't, but a 4-man Gravitic Flux goes out. They will be saved by that immortality field. But now we're going to see Juke up high. He took out that Bongo finally. Portal taking a bit of damage here, but not enough to really do anything. Now Juke comes out, takes down Q2. However, Hooks with a beautiful shutdown there. A 3-man Gravitic Flux is going to do a lot of damage as well. And it looks like Flying Gorillas is going to stabilize here as Scoldy takes it off angle and lets the rest of his team just clean up from that other side.
Oh, great peel by the off tank there. Hux whipped around almost the minute that blade came out, and though they lost Q2, was perfectly fine to just slap down any further attempt by Jupe. The one thing they did have there they weren't able to use was Ripple had the Bob, could not get it out. Mostly because he couldn't just stay alive very long. Mata and Scoldy really stepping up in the DPS slot here. As long as they continue to kind of dominate this DPS war, I think we're going to really struggle to see Crackers pulling anything out of the bag.
Absolutely. Now we're going to see a Window, Bongo, and Dragon come out all at the same time. Scoldy takes down Bryax after he vaporized that immortality field. Mata down on Chicken. Sparky finishes off the Bongo. Bob's going to clean things up there. And Flying Gorillas with a very clean team fight win there, only using the they used the two DPS ults following that window. Really nice job though by Flying Gorillas.
Jeez, and again, they're just going to have to try and reset here. They still have a Bob. They could possibly generate Cameruner's ult in this fight if they can make it work. Ripple's been holding onto this Bob for a while now, so they really need to see it deployed. The other side, no ultimates there. The ults, I mean, the DPS performance has been spectacular, don't get me wrong, Chis, but these ults have been absolutely critical for them winning the fight. So Jupe needs to get up on there, divest that high ground from Mata right away, which he's going to do, and he might just have earned his team a chance to fight their way back into it, but it's a great pull there to get him off.
The Bob is out now, going to pop up Mata, who gets taken out of midair by Ripple. Scoldy, though, coming back and eliminating Bryax with a nice headshot there. Chicken eliminates the immortality field. Portal with a nice res on Bryax. And it looks like things are now in the favor of Crackers. Scoldy being chased by Blading Juke. He isn't going to go down just yet, though. However, the tanks now for Crackers coming out with some massive picks. And this should be a team fight win here. They might be able to full cap. However, the spawn advantage and Mata, stalling right now could come to hurt them. The ball's coming out. We're seeing
beautiful.
Not quick enough. Nice job there by Crackers.
You know, I gotta be honest, I'm loving this. Just these two teams are playing so well. This is really some good Overwatch. It was a spectacular Bob there at the beginning, and unfortunately, Mata just happened to be in the charging pathway of one very angry robotic butler, taking out years of servant oppression right there. Mata on the other side, popped him up into the air, and credit to Ripple, who was, I don't know if that was some simple geometry, some galaxy brain calculations or what, but was waiting right there as soon as Mata got knocked up, just finished him off right away. That was great play all around too. The DPS really stepping up there. Jupe putting that blade to good use finally in the back line. He didn't get a lot of picks with it, but what he did was he pulled off the healers and he just opened up room for Chicken and Cameruner to come in and start cleaning up kills. Still 2 points, but in overtime. That is the caveat, right, Chis? And that can be a bit of a problem. Hopefully, they can kind of turn it around here on the defense. And, I still think it was a really solid performance from Flying Gorillas. I'm not going to take anything away from them. I mean, Scoldy and Mata looking like the better DPS in the majority of those clashes. It wasn't until the end that things really started to change.
Absolutely, and just a really nice job by, I'd say, Scoldy especially. I don't know if you saw this, but he was getting a Dragon Blade almost once a team fight, Dragon Strike almost once a team fight, and that's just insane. And he was doing it because he was playing in that window on the right side if you're coming in on attack of Volskaya B and just hammering away on the poke. I mean, really nice job there to just do damage. And it swung things in their favor. Scoldy now opting for that Tracer again. We saw this last time on Hollywood. Gonna go for a wide flank here and look to take advantage of their backline. Things kind of still in a poke phase though, no serious damage coming out yet. Scoldy actually on the low ground now and looking to just kind of pick off whoever drops first and in the back. Going up the stairs now, looking, knows where that Mercy is. Mercy's gonna move up now. Cordal looking to stay by Bryax. They're gonna get some damage out, but luckily the supports stay up for now. However, Scoldy is on the hunt. Hook's pushing in here, but again, no kills yet coming out for either side. As I say that though, damage is coming out and Cordal goes down to Hooks. Jupe is in a lot of trouble there with that Discord orb on him. Chicken and Cameroon to a quad! Hooks, my man, he is popping off.
He really is. Great play by the Sigma, getting up in there, getting aggressive, taking full advantage of the burst damage, the splash there, and Scoldy's going to polish Jupe off at the end, and that's going to be a 6-minute second point hold, I should say, and that's a tall order, especially when you're facing down 2 DPS ults, and all you have is one Baptiste window.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how things go. Interestingly enough, Chicken playing the low ground up front here doesn't want to give up too much space now. Spark Chief will come down. Hooks is going to throw out a shield. They're going to push up very aggressively. Bob is just hammering Chicken in the back. Scoldy with a beautiful pulse bomb canceled out by a nice immortality field. Not before he cleans up though. Scoldy with 2, Mata with the Bob kill. And things are advancing very favorably right now for Flying Gorillas. We are going to see Cordal go in, try to get a res off. Does get Camerunar up, not before she is eliminated very quickly. Camerunar finished off now. And let's see if Chicken can do anything with this ball. But the way this fight is going, not likely. It's the best case right now. They're looking to just stall things out for as long as they can.
Yeah, this is a bit of a rough take here, honestly. Not a lot they can really do to stall this one out. Ripple trying to come over the top, 1 touch in time, and that is... wow. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, and Flying Gorillas coming out here and making a statement, Chiz.
Absolutely. I mean, they're ending up with more time to just cap point A than they had initially to cap point A, and they did it incredibly quickly. So things are not looking good here for the side of Crackers. They are going to need to talk after this and absolutely make some changes because things just aren't working. I don't think Jupe on that Genji is getting as much value as they would like at this point.
Tell you what, honestly, Crackers, they just got blitzed there. I mean, the ability for them to hold on to this for 4 minutes and 45 seconds, significantly in question here. Teams can do it. All truth be told, you know, we've seen it happen before. We know it can be done. It is a tall order, though, and especially on a team that's playing quite as well as the other side is. A lot of it, I think, coming down to just the DPS difference. A lot stronger play on Mata and Scoldy on this map. It's not to say that Jupe and Ripple haven't had their moments of brilliance, because they certainly have. I won't take it away from them. But in general, Mata and Scoldy have been making huge plays, and with a little bit of assistance from Hux, they're really just kind of overwhelming the defense.
Absolutely, and it's been an absolute clinic. I mean, from both Mata and Scoldy, just 2 incredibly talented players and fulfilling their role. Like they're doing damage, they're building ultimates quickly, and they're getting value by picking targets they should be. And interestingly enough, seeing Jupe come out with the Torb, you know, essentially getting another DPS player. Scoldy on that flank again, and I assume the turret is to kind of just let them know where he's hiding. That being said, Hook gonna go down very early as Jupe is gonna get a nice shot onto him, and it looks like right now Flying Gorilla's in a bit of a stagnant spot, but Bryax will go down. Let's see if they can get the res off. Cordal, it seems, maybe AFK or something for a second, but Spark Chief taking down Camerunar. Not the time to be away from your controller, Cordal, as things are heavily in the favor of Flying Gorillas. Q2 on that flank. Scoldy gonna take down Jupe, hopefully, but maybe not, as it looks like Spark Chief needed to come in and help, but wow. I mean, that was 50 seconds there almost. Really nice attack.
Yeah, that was savage. And I mean, look at who opened it up again. It was Mata on the outside edge, got that shot in exactly where it needed to be, took down Bryax. And like we've said about those kind of compositions before, I mean, the minute that the Baptiste goes down, that's curtains. You just don't have the sustainability. Scoldy with a good play of the game here, getting the value out of those arrows. played really well, to be honest, on the entirety of the defense there. I wasn't actually, I think, one of Skoldy's better plays, funny enough, but apparently it's the play of the game. But 62% co-participation there coming out from Skoldy. DPS difference coming in real hard, I would say, there on that one, Chiss. You felt it in a lot of those matchups.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just like you were saying with Mata Mata initiating, getting those early picks. We saw actually, we saw Crackers do the same thing on their first attack. They had Ripple go out and get picks on Ash on an off angle, and they did a really nice job of then taking advantage of that. Flying Gorilla is going to use that same strategy. They had Mata Mata get opening picks that kind of open things up for them. Skoldy's then going to go in and take advantage of that chaos that happens afterwards, and it really helped them out. They were able to just overwhelm Crackers because I think Flying Gorilla's pace, their aggression, is just not what Crackers is used to at this point.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I mean, we saw kind of one thing I think worthy of note there on the defense. Skoldy was basically uncontested the vast majority of the time. He was playing that upper right hand room, kind of just popping in and out of the door, chucking in arrows, would run back into cover. Never really felt that he was overly fussed holding that position. And I think that was a big kind of part of this, is that Skoldy just had all the room to operate, and you didn't see Jupe trying to close in on him. And it might have been a matter of Jupe just not kind of being able to. I think that the Genji was just a little too focused on going for blades, getting those big blades. Um, to the point where we never really saw the big blades paying off enough to, I think, justify the amount of focus that was devoted to them.
Absolutely. And honestly, I have a feeling that's part of a set strategy. They want Jupe on that Genji. They had an idea of how things should go. That being said, we've seen Tracer work very well. And I'm surprised they haven't either opted to go mirror with Tracer or maybe switch up just the way the team is playing so they can counter Tracer. Maybe using a Brigida instead of a Mercy or a Zenyatta so they have that stun kind of close ability for a little more tankiness, or maybe even opting to swap for like a McCree or something else like that, where you do have a stun, you can one shot her after. And I'm interested to see what they do here on Rialto because this is basically make or break for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is it, right? If you surrender this third map here, you go down to 3-1, the momentum completely out of your hands. They're going to get another control map, I think, on the other side of this, but it's not the kind of place where you want to be turning yourself around when your back is to the wall. You want to even this up. And I mean, all credit to them. I don't think Crackers are out of this, right? These last two maps have been a little one-sided, but Crackers, Jupe, Ripple, the crew, they're solid. They definitely have the stronger kind of main support player here. I think Bryax on the Baptiste is stronger Baptiste than Q2, all respect to Q2, but Bryax has been putting out huge healing numbers. Losing Bryax early on in those fights, like they did a couple of times there on Volskaya, is basically the kiss of death for them, and they really need to make a better effort to kind of protect Bryax. I do kind of wonder if he's going to be coming out on Zenyatta here, though, because they have swapped in Awesome Boy for Cordal, which I think was the setup they used last time when they ran that Zen.
Interesting. So that'll definitely be an interesting development here to see how that kind of shakes out. But you're absolutely right. Bryax is 100%. I don't even want to say their carry, but he seems to be their far more consistent player. He's making fantastic plays, sometimes plays that are completely changing a team fight, but he's also just consistently healing, consistently doing damage. And I think he's been outbuilding Q2 to that window
Yeah.
almost every time. His immortality fields have been near perfect to sustain his team as long as possible. And that's making a big difference. And I think without him, this would be a completely different matchup.
Well, going back to Rialto, or at least for me, I've seen this one before today. A popular pick. I love this map. It's actually one of my favorite maps in the entire game, but it is a very hard map to attack. The team that I watched earlier who picked this one when they were down, it really bit them. Bit them right on the behind. It was hard for them to turn it around because when you kind of are feeling the pressure and your back is to the wall, this is not the map that you want to attack on. That being said, Cracker is going to start on the defense, and that is the kind of thing I think that could give them a little bit of a morale boost.
Absolutely, and I think just looking at their play styles, Crackers prefers to be set up. They like kind of the controlled fights, or they can sustain it out for a long time. That being said, if the DPS play goes the same as it does last time, we are seeing almost a true mirror this time, but at least in terms of DPS, it could drastically change how this goes. as Flying Gorillas are the much more aggressive team. That being said, let's get things going as we're going to see a nice halt come out here. The cart already around that first corner, and they're going to be just moving it very consistently now. Big halt there, but Hooks is just going to eat up all that damage, gain a little extra shielding there. No real picks, though, coming out yet as both teams just kind of poking, playing off the high ground until Ripple gets a beautiful headshot there. And funnily enough, Matamata is going to trade back as well. Cameruner, though, nice pick there on the Matamata. So things in the favor of Crackers now. With that res, they're going to have their full teams here still, and they are going to hold. Took them a little while, Corbec, but it looks like they are stabilizing around that second corner.
Yeah, the second corner is kind of the good defensive hold. The big fight to watch now really is Jupe and Scoldy here engaging in a little tracer duel in the garden. But it's so important for Jupe to live because he shuts down the angle from Matamata, who gets killed right there by Ripple. They kept trying to push through this side door, and instead they're met by one very angry robot waiting there for them.
Absolutely, and just incredible job here by Ripple, just dominating Matamata in terms of damage and ult building. We are going to see Chicken push in there, get a nice pick with the help of Ripple on the Spark Chief. Hooks is going to do what he can, but he's going to almost get vaporized there as Q2 goes down immediately. And Ripple, this is just Ripple's map. I mean, he actually is about to lap Matamata to a bob right now. That is incredible.
He really is about to lap Matamata to a bod, which is pretty impressive. Ripple has done a spectacular job here hanging back. The main contest for Ripple was going to be Matamata kicking out on the outside edge, but they pretty much shut that down. The 2 DPS doing a really good job kind of combining here to cut down on sightlines. Scoldy coming out now on the Widowmaker is an interesting choice. We'll see how much value they can divide out of that, and that's a lot of value right there. They will get the res off early on, though, Chis.
Yep, they're going to get the res. Bob come out. Nice placement there. Bob is just going to hammer away at Chicken, who's sitting there just trying to limit the damage he can do. But a huge Gravitic Flux comes out. Unfortunately, not that much damage done with it. However, it looks like, for the time being, Flying Gorillas are actually winning this and pushing forward. And Scoldy, with 2 beautiful shots, secures, the bulk of the point, I would say. They're not done yet, as we are going to see another contest right here. Nice stick on a Spark Chief, who is going to use that Fortify to survive. Now out comes the window. This is a lot of damage. It makes it very challenging to contest for them. But beautiful Bob placement, however, not quite inside of the window. Jupe takes down Q2. Scoldy in a bit of trouble here, though. A Gravitic Flux is going to come out, and unfortunately, though, Ripple gets a nice pick on a Scoldy. However, Matamata trades, but it looks like Flying Gorillas will back off here. They're not going to be able to contest. And good for them, though, force out that Bryaxed window.
Yeah, it's a good window, actually, by Bryax. It lets them take out Hux. Not a lot of time left, so every kill here is a bit of a stagger for them. Spark Chief turn and heal there, running away, and you can't expect him to do anything less. Sort of a speculative accretion thrown there, Cameruner, but okay, we'll let you have that one. Regrouping here, though. No ults in the bank. There is one ult, however, in the side of the Flying Gorillas, and it is a big one. Q2 has Transcendence. Now, that could actually change the entire course of this fight. I think Jupe is going to go for the assassination attempt, and they have to get it. Q2 has to go down here before they can use that trance.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario for the side of Jupe and them is that they can, maybe force it out. But now it's in overtime. It's going to come out regardless. But Jupe is going to be coming up on a big pulse bomb soon. So if he can get that pick on a Q2, that's going to swing the fight in their favor. As both teams now taking a lot of damage, but especially Crackers. They take down 2. Jupe with a phenomenal play. He's at full health now, and he's going to take down Q2. That's 3 for him. He's now coming in to try and clean up Rhine Guy, and he's going to take him down. And that's just going to be a clean finish to the end of their defense for the side of Crackers.
Ow, what a play by Jupe. He saw Matamata playing that Tracer earlier on Lishog and said, you know what? Let me have a crack there. I think I could do something about that. And certainly he did a great job. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get Q2 before the Transcendence came out, but making up all the difference on the back end there really broke the back of the attack, and they'll get a first point hold. Interestingly enough, Chis, I have it from a semi-reliable source who may or may not be called Bullskunk, that Rialto actually sees the highest percentage of first point holds of any map in the entirety of Overwatch where that is a condition.
I actually think I did know that. And a big part of it is actually, the way that opening, you have that bridge. That's a huge kind of, not really a choke point in how we think of it because it's not like a door or anything, but it's a choke point in that you have two sides that you can die to environmental damage. And as both teams are playing an Orisa, that is something you need to be conscious of. But then right behind it, as the defenders, you can keep backing up. You have perfect angles on that somewhat banana curve right there just past the bridge, and that is really where a lot of teams get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real standout thing here, first of all, I want to say this is exactly what the Crackers needed to kind of reset them. If they can push this through, that'll be a good, solid win for them. Have to be riding a little bit of a confidence high. They took the best that could be thrown at them and threw it right back. But it was the DPS again. Jupe and Ripple just looking slightly superior on this one, and they're going to go around the back edge and see if they can set up Jupe and Ripple for some good shots. Just a second, never mind. Jupe's going to go back into the middle.
Yep, I think Scoldy saw him there and they kind of realized of his presence there, which just shows how much they're respecting him as a player. But Scoldy now going to go in on a Bryax, doesn't take him down, going to have to back up. And Chicken and the gang, though, moving that cart slowly but surely. They're now at that first corner. They get it around, but here comes the challenging part. If you get stuck here at the second corner, you let the other team set up, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. And damage is coming through on both sides, but not enough really to end or swing this fight in one way at the moment. Halt is going to pick up no one, and we're still going to see this kind of dance of two corners here as both of these teams playing the angles.
Matamata!
Ripple one taps Matamata with the damage boost. We're not going to see a res come through. As I say that, of course, I'm wrong by Rhine Guy. And Flo again with another two headshots. Wow! Hux is going to die to his own damage. Scoldy gets Juke, but it's too little too late. And we might see an incredibly fast full cap here. You're going to see Scoldy now try and play that stall, try to get some picks, but nothing really. He's just going to be taking damage and go down almost immediately. Dynamite comes out. Here comes the Wrecking Ball trying to get that last second touch. You have Hoops on the point, but he gets obliterated there. And Spark Chief is there, but if he gets too much damage, which is happening as we speak, that stall really isn't going to do anything for them. And that is going to be a Cracker tying it up 2-2.
Well, it's not really a C9. I guess they missed the bob, but it kind of felt that way, to be honest. My lord. They needed that bob about just a foot to the left there. Just and did not get it. My lord, what a turnaround. What spectacular stuff from Jupe here as well. Look at that 20 HP recall, and the man's not done. He comes back for more. Yes, sir, can I have another? And I'll do one more as well. Beautiful stuff there from Jupe getting in, and Bryax again setting a blistering pace on the healing, but the DPS difference coming in hard here. We've talked about it before, and it's Jupe and Ripple there playing up, taking it to the next level here to put their team back in this 2-2.
Absolutely. I mean, like you've been saying, it really is a tale of the DPS. They're the ones who are kind of swinging things. Yes, I think there's a bit of a Cracker's edge when it comes to the Baptiste play, but overall, I mean, basically their DPS have been deciding, I'm going to pop off this game, my team wins. And that's really what it's coming down to, which makes it very exciting. And Jupe on that Tracer, just phenomenal play. Ripple solid as ever on Ashe. They're pretty much just eviscerating Mata. I mean, I don't think he got anything going. He almost lapped him in bobs. Just phenomenal play there from Crackers.
Yeah, it's been absolutely beautiful stuff. And I mean, you kind of feel for the Flying Gorillas just a little bit. I mean, it had the hallmarks of kind of they just had to step off to the side. They couldn't hang. They had a couple of really good picks at the beginning of that fight. They threw in that bob, and I gotta be honest with you. If that bob had been just slightly there, we might have been seeing them trying to stall that one out. Whether or not they would have won that one out, though, I don't know. It's hard to say. Really, like you said, Chiz, it's whichever DPS decides that they want to pop off on any particular given map is the one that's kind of winning at the moment. And that's not to take away from any of the other skill positions, because Hux, Spark Chief, Chicken, Cameruner, the whole crew on the tanks, they're playing right up there. They're playing very good gameplay, and we've seen some beautiful ults coming out of both sides on that front, but it's really coming down to who's getting the picks, who's getting the early picks, and who are they picking off.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that's just a credit to kind of both teams is their tanks are playing very solid. I haven't seen any major mistakes out of any of them. And supports as well. The supports are playing phenomenal. I mean, there's no real discrepancy there. I think, yeah, Bryax has been playing incredible on BAP. I'm gonna keep saying it. However, I I
Supports, give supports credit.
However, I don't think, the difference, especially after that first map on Lijiang, I don't think the difference between him and Q2 is as noticeable anymore. I think for the most part, their supports are doing their jobs as perfect as they can, and the tanks are as well. So it really is the DPS deciding the games at this point. And Control was Cracker's kind of cup of tea. So
Yeah.
we'll see how they do here. This could be a big swing in momentum for them to set them up for that series point and the grand finals as well.
Yeah, we're going into Ilios here, and you're right. Control did favor did favor Crackers the first time around, but we say favor, but I remember it was actually quite close, right? Like it was a couple of 99 to 99 maps, never felt too one-sided, but you did get the general feeling that maybe Crackers felt a little bit more comfortable in those situations. We'll see if they turn that around here as we go forward onto this map. Ilios, it looks like we're going to be starting off on Lighthouse. I don't think there's any huge sort of changes in these compositions. If anything, Chis, they're almost mirror comps here. The one difference being Ryan Guy will be coming out on a Lucio, while Awesome Boy will be sticking on that Mercy.
Yeah, and I think that was a very smart swap by Cordle there. Cordle, who I believe is the captain of Crackers, realizing that, I would assume Awesome Boy is the better Mercy player, and they're seeing the value Ripple's getting out of being pocketed, essentially. And so as a result, playing to your strengths like that is just so smart. And, Jupe and Scoldy having that Tracer duel, being able to just harass the backline, very smart. And you're going to see Rongai opt for the Brigida to deal with Jupe.
Well, the Brigida, too, provides armor packs to Scoldy, which is a distinct advantage in those Tracer duels. If you can keep the armor packs on Scoldy as they engage in the duel, and we'll have to see if they can pull that off as they move in here.
Absolutely, and again, though, seeing an Immortality field come out very early. Jupe is getting his pressure on, but Chicken actually is going to go down first, and Cameruner in a lot of trouble here. So that's going to be a very clean point tank there for the side of Flying Gorillas. Unfortunately, what happened there, I think, is just Jupe put a great pressure on the other team. They forced out Immo early. However, their tanks then were kind of left out to dry, and we saw Chicken go down very early.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, to be honest, and you hate giving up the point control here, especially on Lighthouse. Bryax going down early to Scoldy, and I mean, I hate to say that's curtains for this push, but that's pretty much curtains for this push.
Especially with Mata finishing off Ripple there. Q2 in a bit of trouble, but backed up enough where he shouldn't go down here. And yeah, I mean, Flying Gorilla's looking very strong here. It seems like Ilios is their map. This is what they wanted to start with, and nice job by them. Really just holding that corner, playing aggressive, playing to their strengths. Beautiful halt there. Not going to get as much value as they wanted, but they do get that dynamite, a little bit of damage. Immo comes out early. Scoldy's just going to sit Juke down. My God, he's popping off right now. That's how you win a Tracer duel in style. Spark Chief, though, taking quite a pretty chunk of damage here, as Jupe is going to be coming up on that pulse bomb quite soon. However, Q2 should have the Immortality field there, and Scoldy also going to take down Awesome Boy. This fight is slowly pushing towards the side of Flying Gorillas. However, ultimates coming out, picks coming out now for Crackers as well. Immo is going to be used here. Jupe does have that pulse bomb. He's going to be flying into that any second, and he's going to get two, and shuts down that Rabbinic Flux. A third on the Spark Chief, and that's curtains. Crackers really taking a commanding lead. Jupe with 5 kills there. That is the Overwatch we want to see.
What a series of events in that long fight. First of all, we had Scoldy pulling the alpha move on Jupe there. The ultimate alpha with the pulse bomb kill on the other Tracer. Not only does Jupe pay that one back in full at the end of that fight, but the person who captured the point, Bob.
Yep, and now we're going to see a trade here, though. Bryax with a nice pick on the Mata. Cameruner takes down Hooks, and it's really looking like Crackers may be able to hang on pretty cleanly here. Jupe goes down, but they also take down Scoldy, and that's a major numbers advantage now for the side of Crackers, and they just kind of cleanly take off the rest. The other teammates staggered back a bit, and they should be able to get to 70 before any real fight happens. So this is anyone's map at this point.
I tell you what, I don't know how Bryax moved his fingers that fast across the controller, because an instant after he got that pick, he had an immortality field down to save someone's life there from a pulse bomb that Scoldy dropped in the backside edge. And now they just have window and beatdown Bongo. I mean, powerful ults, but maybe not enough to swing this on the attack. That being said, Ripple going down early, that's a loss.
And Scoldy now gonna attack Jupe and force out that recall. Unfortunately, though, they do take down Awesome Boy, but Ripple is back up now. He's in a lot of trouble. We're going to see Jupe, though, take down Spark Chief. However, things trading out here, looking like they're kind of favoring the side of Flying Gorillas, which they do. Mata taking down Bryax and Chicken, and things are just getting cleaned up here, as that's a 4K between Mata and Scoldy alone. Really nice job there to clean things up before it got to 99%.
Tell you what, Huck's not giving any not giving any cares, as it were. There's a word that rhymes, but we're not going to use it, not on this broadcast. Just kind of shoved his way in there on that Sigma and was throwing orbs in people's faces like there was no tomorrow. And a good window here might force them to rotate left if they so choose, but I think they're just going to try and get the reset.
You know, they don't have much time. Chicken in a lot of trouble there. He's going to take a pretty penny worth of damage. Immo has to come out to save him. This is the final fight of the map, and we're going to see both Immortality Fields used and go down. Ripple takes down Bob and Mata. That's a big advantage now for the side of Crackers. Things going quite smoothly here, as we're going to see a lot of damage still coming out. Chicken in a bit of trouble here. Gravitic Flux is going to come out onto them as Scully takes down Chicken. Hux just sends Awesome Boy off the edge as Camerader takes down Spark Chief, but things are looking good here for Flying Gorillas. Hux and Scoldy going to work. They brought their lunchbox, and they're going to secure Lighthouse on Helios.
I tell you what, unfortunately for Crackers, that was not the kind of fight they wanted to take. Without the Brigida, right? We saw Ryan guy on the Brigida. You struggle in those brawl situations running in with a comp like that, and I think that might be why we're seeing Chicken swap over to Orion here. Awesome Boy going over to Lucio, as they don't want to get boxed into a situation like that again. You just lose out on the damage and the healing when you're relying on that Mercy on the outside edge to provide you with it. I mean, we saw the ults being traded back and forth just there. Things were about level. There were a couple of good picks coming in favor of Cracked, but they just couldn't get it off when they actually had to on the point.
Absolutely, and we're actually seeing a double sniper comp coming out here from the side of Flying Gorillas. We saw Scoldy find some success already with that Widowmaker, and you know, long sight lines here. They also have great height to take advantage of. This is a very favorable map for snipers if you play it well. Both teams kind of just dealing some poke here. Ripple in a bit of trouble, though, is on fire and is actually going to go down, as does Jupe to Scoldy. And there's that benefit of the double sniper. This is a 6v4 fight now for the side of Flying Gorillas. Chicken going to miss that short charge. Bryax's Immo is going to go down along with him. Hooks cleans things up with the help of Mata, and that is a clean point take for Flying Gorillas.
Awesome Boy just pieced out there on the outside edge. Saw everybody die and jumped up. It was like, I'm gonna go back. I'll take the weight. These poke phases, have been one of the telling differences, one of the key phases of the night. We've seen fights won or lost in them basically since map number 1, and that was exactly what we saw there. Scoldy and Mata coming in for those big kills there. Now we'll see if they can run onto him, which is what they want to do, but it's going to take a little while.
Just had a little technical issue, but other than that, we're all back here, and it looks like things still fairly going in the way of Flying Gorillas here. Mata, nice pick on a Bryax. He is going to take some damage, but an Immo will be able to save them for a brief moment. Shatter comes out, is going to get one, but they're not going to be able to follow up, and instead Scoldy and Q2 will clap back and clean things up for the side of Flying Gorillas.
They're in a really difficult situation now, Crack. They're running what is a very, and they've just switched off of it, of course, as I said it, but they were running a very aggro comp there with the Ryan and the Lucio. Your idea being, I want to speed forward, I want to get into them. But then they're 2 DPS, not built for that. A Widowmaker and an Ashe, they're not brawlers, right? They're not going to get up. And now Jupe switching over, but Scoldy making all the difference. The old Viking crew cut there on Ripple, forcing that revive early on, and there's nothing they can do for Cameruner, who was way out of position on that one and just gunned down.
Yeah, I mean, really nice job. Scoldy is just dominating the DPS right now. I mean, just having a Widow on the other team now with sights is a lot of pressure that you don't want to have to deal with. And if he's far enough back now, he's not going to even need to have an angle taken against him. He's safe. They get the full duration of that visor. However, things now trading back and forth. A lot of damage coming through for both sides, but not as much as Matamata's Bob is just going to eviscerate the tanks. Scoldy finishes off Fryax, Dukes throws out a Gravitic Flux, and this series is going to move to 3-2 in favor of Flying Gorillas.
For the Ryan Gorillas, putting up another really strong, outspoken performance here, especially on that last map, Ruins. They did not give any room to breathe to their opponents, pushing themselves into a very justifiable match point, but what an absolute corker of a play here from Jupe. Let's watch this one again.
Oh, beautiful. I mean, shuts down the Gravitic Flux, takes down Matamata as well, and then also finishes off Spark Chief and Q2.
Oh. Yeah, I was going to say, he punches the other Tracer on the way out almost as an afterthought to just crack that Tracer up the side of the head.
Unbelievable. And
Q2 and Ryan guy.
Yeah, beautifully done by the two of them. Just really nice and just clean team fights. I mean, you see the low healing numbers, you see the low elimination numbers, and that's not because they're playing poorly. It's just because the teams as a whole are playing so cleanly. They're very decisive team fights that they don't need to out heal and sustain for long periods of time. They don't need to do a lot of damage and get a lot of kills to advance the objective. It's a quick team fight. They're going to take advantage and move on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been pretty impressive, all things considered, the way that they've been going in, especially on that map. A lot of the difference, I think, came from just a really solid Brigida play coming out of Rhine Guy. Really made it count on a lot of the maps. Or, especially on Lighthouse when they tried to get up in the face there, the Brigida just kind of winning out. It's sort of the kind of thing where if you don't have the Brig, you're going to get punished for it in a lot of circumstances, unless you have the exact sort of right composition to come in hard on that Brigida and get the kills. On the other side of the ball, though, I mean, Flying Gorillas playing really well, playing really collected, calm, organized. Even when things went south for them on that last map, they come into Ilios and they just do not look fuss at all. They are just perfect.
I completely agree, and it's execution. I mean, we have seen flashes of brilliance from Jupe and Ripple, like we did, first map especially, but later on in the maps, occasionally you'll see Ripple pop off and get a few incredible headshots. We'll just win that duel against Matamata. Jupe had some nice duels, one against Scoldy as well, but in terms of just consistency, we're seeing so much more coming out of Flying Gorillas as a whole, and it's helping them. And on the attack here on Kings Row to start, so I'm expecting them to really push it the entire way with a sizable chunk of time left at the end as well.
You would think so. I mean, they showed up real hard on Hybrid last time. We saw them basically set a blistering pace there on their attack. Their defense was solid as well. They kind of gave up the first point relatively quickly over there on Hollywood, but certainly they reasserted pretty darn fast, got what they needed. It's really Flying Gorillas' chance to win this. I mean, not only literally, but also kind of figuratively. They could very easily to put this to bed in the first like 2 or 3 minutes if they play their cards right. For those of you who are following along, want to know the score of the other match, don't have a multi-Twitch up or Twitch Theater, whatever your program of choice is, do know that Crazy 88s are up 2-1 against the Gliding Chimpanzees in the Tier 4 Grand Finals over there on CGL1. They're currently playing through it looks like the attack here for Crazy 88s on Rialto. It does appear that Gliding Chimpanzees might have gotten full held there on that map, so a little bit of a tall order for them to stay in it, but their primate brethren over here, not at all fussed, just doing a really good job on the other side of the ball, fighting for primates everywhere. Apes stronger together, as it were.
Absolutely, and just I'm very impressed just honestly with both teams at this point. They are playing high level Overwatch. It's not what you see at lower ranks where, you'll
No.
get those kind of weird ultimates at the end of fights that will maybe get a few people and swap things, or maybe they get a straggler here and there, someone pops off. It's really just team oriented Overwatch, and that's the best Overwatch to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of like I think earlier on, maybe we saw a couple of things like that. Scoldy was kind of transitioning off, but you really see these teams hitting their stride here, and there's no doubt that these are really good players. And I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to watch them go at it. To be honest, I love watching the DPS get in, and I feel like we've talked a lot about Bryax, we talked a lot about the supports. We're also not giving enough credit to the tanks who are doing a great job of setting up a lot of these plays. You'll notice that none of the DPS have ever really felt like they didn't have enough space to operate in a lot of these like big plays that they're making, and that 100% is on the tanks for giving them the room and for holding the line. But here going into King's Row, classic map, everybody loves it. It's not the kind of map I think, Chis, that you're going to surprise anyone on, though. Pretty much standard strategies to be trotted out by both sides, and the fact that they're basically running mirror comps with a different Shimada, the Shimada difference, if we were, is pretty good evidence of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the, how should I phrase this? The Shimada showdown that we will inevitably be seeing here.
Showdown.
As both barriers going to come out here. Jupe already getting in there and trying to deal some damage, but right now it looks like Flying Gorilla is still holding the line, going to rotate around that hotel, just want to, stay as safe as possible. Nice halt comes out, but no value taken from that, really. Damage on both sides, however, Ripple will take down Scoldy here. I don't see any real damage coming out from the side of Flying Gorillas, so this should be a teamfight win for the side of Crackers. As I say that, Hux and Brian Guy go down, so this should be a very quick point A cap here for the side of Crackers.
Now, before the Crackers fans in the chat get a little too excited, it is worth pointing out, I mean, that's a huge time bank, first of all, my lord. But we saw exactly this on Hollywood. They came out, they barnstormed the first point, and then they kind of hit a snag running a very similar composition and just couldn't get over the hump, as it were. So this is going to be a telling time for them. They have to get through the streets phase. If they get through the streets phase, I think they have a relatively good chance of pushing it all the way, Chis, but they just can't hit another roadblock here.
Absolutely, and right now we are going to see Scoldy swap over to that Tracer. Tried and True is going to give them free value. He's going to go in there and do damage, but he's going to have to recall out as he gets stunned by Brita. Jupe, though, coming up on that Dragon Blade. You're going to want to look out for that, because here it comes, and he's going ham right now. Does take down that Immo field. Unfortunately, though, is going to go down to Mata. Cordal is going to take down Scoldy as well, and things are not looking good for Flying Gorillas at the moment. Ryan Guy is dangerously low, and he will be finished off by Cameruner with no valuable picks coming out from the side of Flying Gorillas. So, again, very clean team fight, advancing it. Not too many, resources invested there, just the 2 DPS ults. So, nice job there by Crackers.
Two things of note there, I would say, Chis. One is that there was a poor misplaced Bob who ended up on the steps of the pub. Not exactly where he wanted to be. He had a few too many of that high-grade oil or whatever it is Omnics partake in, their particular choice of adult beverage. The other was that it was kind of a little breakdown of discipline there from Hux and Ryan Guy, throwing in their ults when they did, throwing and getting in, but we'll see on the other side, this could make a difference here.
This could be big. Ripple doing a lot of damage, but Jupe will go down to Scoldy, and Ripple's in a bit of a pickle here as he is going to take a lot of damage. Not before he's going to take out Ron Guy, though, and Spark Chief. Chicken taking out Hooks, Bryax with Scoldy. This is an entire team effort as they very smoothly advance through Streets phase on King's Row.
Again, my mind kind of wanders back to Ryan Guy throwing out the rally there to kind of try and stall out on the streets phase. That was a time when they could have really used that armor. Now coming out on the Mercy, that's fine. They want the res, perfectly understandable. A damage boost from Mata as well. Might be a sign of a DPS struggle, if we're being honest.
Yup, that Bongo is going to come out, but be deleted almost immediately, and Ripple just getting another 2 incredibly valuable picks. Jupe and just going to get another, and it looks like Flying Gorillas isn't even playing right now. This is not the team we saw in the previous 4 maps. They are just getting ran over at the moment. You're going to see Ron Guy hiding in that room there. He's going to try and come out. Damage boost Hooks now. Wants to build up damage, maybe get mines early, as you see Chicken also swapped onto that Wrecking Ball. And they're just going to be dueling. You see the Diva now as well. Spark Chief is going to go pressure Ripple off of that high ground and hopefully kill him, but doesn't. Bryax will take down Hooks. Scoldy trades out Jupe, but this isn't exactly even trades, and with that res coming out, it looks like Flying Gorillas has a nice advantage here as Matamata and Scoldy are going to take down another sizable chunk of Crackers. Cordal jumps off the edge for the quicker respawn, and now they can get a chance to breathe. They're going to be able to stabilize here.
Yeah, kind of the first time they've had that opportunity, Chis. They got hit pretty hard there, starting from the first point, and we're basically reeling for the last couple of minutes, but they'll dig in and hold on. Chicken actually swapped off there to go onto the ball, and that's cost them a little bit of ult charge here as they'll come forward. They do have 2 ults in the bank, and they are quite impactful ones, or at least they have been throughout the night. Let's see what they get out of them.
Yep, Hooks is going to take a beating there, but Immortality Field going to keep both him and Spark Chief relatively safe. Now we're seeing that Dragon Blade come out. He gets punched away and then knocked up. Not much value coming out of Scoldy, just manhandles Juke with blading. Pulse Bomb is missed there. However, it doesn't really matter as it looks like Crackers is just falling apart at the seams right now.
Yeah, it'll force the reset here, to be honest. You know, one of the interesting things I want to point out there is that a lot of the blades that have come out from Jupe have not been huge on kills, right? But they have done decent job in kind of creating space for his team, creating distraction. We saw that on the Streets phase. That did not happen there. There was no opportunity for his team to really push up, so maybe he'll get a little bit more value out of the McCree here.
Really nice window there is going to give them a lot of space and great angles to really push the Flying Gorillas back over towards the end of the point. Jupe with a nice pick on a Matamata. This is an advantage now, a big one for the side of Flying Gorillas. However, there is that spawn advantage, and we are going to see Matamata come back rather quickly. A nice window is going to come out. Ripple, however, is going to take down Scoldy. Missed Ravidic there. Ripple takes down the others, and this is just a shooting gallery for the 2 gunslingers out of the Deadlock gang, as they are going to put everyone to sleep. And this should be a relatively easy cap there. Ryan Guy tries to beat, but misses it.
Oh my lord, pure yeehaw energy right there at the end, I tell you what. Once Ripple was up on that high ground, Scoldy went up there to contest on that Genji. Totally the right play. The rest of the team, though, came in hard. Ripple got backup. We saw, I think it was Bryax jumping up in the air on the Baptiste to throw in some healing. We saw Jupe looking up there and chucking in a couple of shots on McCree that allowed Ripple to get back up there and finish off with the dynamite. And my heart kind of going out to Scoldy there because it was the right play at the right time. It just didn't quite work out that way. And those 2 hit scan players, Jupe and Ripple, just they're having a field day, man. When they have that open sights, you called it. It was a shooting gallery.
Just a phenomenal job. We've seen such consistent, hit scan play from Ripple all night, basically on the Ashe the entire time. No surprise there. We're going to see Scoldy actually, for the time being, opting for a Mei, Q2 on the Zen. I'm interested to see if they decide to stick with it. That being said, though, Matamata is on that Ashe again. There we go. Scoldy opting for the Echo now. So I'll be interested to see, what they intend to really work out with this composition here and what their game plan is.
Well, absolute kind of a nightmare scenario here for the Flying Gorillas, who had the opportunity to put this one to bed and then kind of shat the bed in return. Like, let's be honest. I think I can say that. I don't know. Somebody will get it in post as they reform again and push it to the front door.
Yeah, and we're seeing just again this poke phase. Chicken took quite a bit of damage there, but nothing too serious. Q2 and Scoldy both a little weak at the moment, but again, nothing that will decide the team fight. This is just still the poke phase. Chicken got a bit of a stun there, is gonna take some damage, but Ripple with a beautiful pick on a Q2, gonna take down that one support. And now we're seeing Immortality Field come out from Ryan Guy. Camerooner is just going to finish that one quickly. Matamata doing his best there, takes out the other Immortality Field, but it looks like Crackers are hanging on as the time gets eaten away and Ripple eats away at Matamata. Things are really swinging in the favor of Crackers. That's a major kill for them. Scoldy in some trouble here, is eventually going to go down to Cordal, and this looks like it's going to be a reset.
To be honest, if I had to guess who was going to kill Scoldy there, Whip Shot would not have been in my top 3 options for death, but okay, fair enough. Well done. We won't talk about that accretion, Camerooner. We'll pretend that didn't happen, mate. Don't worry. Doorframe, though, is certainly feeling stunned. And they're going to push up through the hotel here, which is good. I think an attempt to just minimize the amount of damage coming out from the hits cans.
Absolutely. Definitely putting Ripple in a bit of an odd spot. He's going to have to rotate here to that opposite height. Juke is going to take down Matamata's Bob there. Ripple coming up on it. Doesn't quite have it. Deadeye is available. Juke not using it yet. Ripple in a lot of trouble. Is going to have to back out there as he's just below half health for the moment, though. Q2 down there to Camerooner, and things are just fighting right now. This seems like it's Hotel Kings Row. If you get that reference, I'm sorry. But this is just a shooting gallery at the moment, and neither side really backing up or taking too much damage, as both are just dancing around the outskirts of the point.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave, as they say. And certainly no leaving here, though. It's a good Gravitic Scoldy in midair. Ba-boom!
Scoldy getting max value there. Chicken, though, is going to take him down. Ripple coming back, and they're going to be able to stabilize. This is Crackers at full force right now. They do not want to have their season end this way. They are fighting to stay alive right now with just a minute and a half left. Flying Gorillas are going to need to make some big changes if they even want to get a tick, let alone push it all the way to the end.
Yeah, Flying Gorillas reeling right now under the assault from the Crackers. The ult bank not in their favor either. They used Scoldy right there, got value out of it, but could not finish the fight. And with a rally in a pocket, if they choose to use it, that's going to make things hard, but they're going to open up with the Gravitics here instead. Jupe going down early, though. That could set him back a bit.
Mata with 2, Scoldy gets another. This should be a team fight win here, but we never know. Cordal going down basically seals their fate. Clock is ticking away. Bryax with a pick, but too little, too late. It looks like this is going to be a cap for Crackers. However, Hooks is in a bit of a bind here. Camerooner is somehow going to hang on, and now Jupe is back. Unfortunately, though, it may be too little, too late for them. It's just Camerooner hanging on. However, Ripple coming in. They're not giving up just yet. They're going to fight this out. Just the 3 of them. Chicken takes down the Immo, and he takes down Scoldy, but finally, Flying Gorillas cleans things up. And with just 3 minutes to go, they are a bit lower on time, but they should have enough to hopefully push through Streets phase.
Well, I'll tell you what, they made him bleed for every inch of that. Really good performance there to hold him up at the doorway. Cordal actually switching over onto the Brigida now. Oh, no, sorry, not switching. Has had that. Didn't really get too much value, I think, out of the rally in that situation. Scoldy has that high noon again, and we see Rhine guy coming in with the window, so Bryax has matched them there. It was a little bit of a rough fight. It was a decent contest, but they kind of got boxed into a corner that they couldn't get out of, and that was kind of where they lost. We'll see if they can do better here.
And now we're seeing both of them waving each other through windows. The immortality comes down. Bryax in big trouble. That is a massive play from the side of Flying Gorillas. Oh my god, the Deadlock gang has come to play, ladies and gentlemen, and they are putting on a show.
That was great play there by Scoldy. They're combining these Gravitics really well with Scoldy's high noon to get those big picks. It's kind of a combo that, you know, seems very obvious. Kind of be hard to pull off sometimes, but now Ripple has a Bob. The rally coming in early from Q2, and they're going to go for an aggressive hold right here.
Yeah, they're really going to ball out here to fight this one out. Camerooner takes down that Immortality field as a Spark Chief. Both sides now without their crucial defensive abilities, and we're seeing a big trade from both teams. However, it is in the favor now of Crackers, and they're going to hold on with just 2.95 meters before they needed to finish capping.
You know what, all credit right there to Ripple. That was a beautiful Bob. Initially, I thought he had misplaced it because it didn't hit the cart, but where it landed back there by that garage door just gave it a full field of fire. And you saw Q2 just getting caught out by the Bob, really had no choice, was stuck between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea and just went down. Now they need to pop this rally early on. It's the edge they need in this fight. I think it could help really secure this for them and help them survive Spark Chief's damage bongo, which will go down, I have to imagine, right about now.
Yep, and there comes the Halt as well. We're going to see an Immortality come out from the side of Crackers. It goes down to Mata, but Ripple on the high ground, and Scoldy and Spark Chief are actually going to open this up for them. That window getting a lot of value with Mata taking down 2, now 3. This is just a beautiful display of skill. This is going to be a cap now, and Flying Gorillas moves on to point 3 on Kings Row.
Huge window, like actually huge, really telling. Got got Mata Mata the Bob in there as well. It was a spectacular bit of dynamite there too when they were all grouped up and stuck in. Amazing pulls coming out as well to just displace the defenders and keep them constantly in the line of sight there. So well done on that front. Great comboing, and Ripple getting taken out first, and that's going to be a difference.
That's going to hurt them for sure. You have the Bob out there doing damage, gets booped away actually to a better angle now. He's not going to be able to find too much damage here, as you will see the majority now of Flying Gorillas push up, play very aggressively. And now you're going to see a big Gravitic Flux come out. The Immortality Field will save them though. Bob on card is going to stall things out for a second, and a counter Flux comes out. There's an Immo to save them. Hoops will take down Ripple's Bob, but there's a shooting gallery going on as you have both Hoops and Jupe now playing from that high ground. Or sorry, Camerooner and Jupe playing from the high ground. Smart Chief will trade out with Chicken and take him down. Ripple, though, taking down 2. Cordal in trouble. Things are stabilizing here for Crackers as Jupe pulls out the Dragon Blade, gets 1, Ripple gets another, and that's the end of the play.
Yeah, this Genji pick in double shield, you know, it's strange. I don't think anybody's going to deny that that's a bit of a weird one. That being said, though, Jupe's making it work. His blades, again, they haven't been the most killy blades, but the level of disruption that they're throwing into the mix here really creates some problems. And now we're seeing Flying Gorillas with their backs to the walls. They have to make this stick, and that's not the way you want to start, losing your main tank before you're even around the corner.
That's very rough for them, and the rest of the team now has to wait. They're basically going to have to try and recontest at the last possible second. Hook's now going for that Wrecking Ball so they can just try and get a touch, but they're not even close. Are they going to make it? No, not with that halt they're not, but actually Hook saves the day. Unfortunately, Chicken and Ripple have other thoughts about that, and that was one of the fastest team kills we've had all night. Beautifully executed there.
Good Lord. They just wiped that point. Good night, Irene. Pack it in, send it home, and Crackers, they'll carry right on here and force this into a final map. Score 3-3, and glad you could join us for this one, ladies and gentlemen, because it is an actual cracker of a match. Every pun intended, because these teams are giving it their all, and I love to see it. They're leaving nothing out there on the field. Ryan Guy putting in really good heals. Obviously, Cordal with great armor, but Ripple kind of the star of the show, doing 29% of his team's damage, doing a great job there. And, you know, it's just been neck and neck here, Chis, between these DPS all night long. And that just continues to be the case as we're coming in here. 3-3 going into this final match. Or is it 3-2? My apologies. I can't quite remember which. I want to say it's 3-3.
I believe it's 3-2, but I'm actually not
sure.
I'm
so dumb.
Because the way these maps have been going, it honestly feels like it's 3-3. I mean, beautiful showing there from Crackers just to ball out.
Math, what is it?
Map. They did.
Math, what is it? I think you are right. It is 3-2. My bad. Wait, no, is it? I don't know. We'll get a score confirmation. I cannot believe I have I have lost track of that, but that's what you get for somebody who got mostly D's in math back in high school. Numbers, never my strong suit. Ask my, 7th or what was it? No, 10th grade. See, I can't even get the grades right. 10th grade geometry teacher, Mr. Jordides, all about my ability to do math, and I'm sure he would have some choice words. Probably still remembers me, actually. I was that bad.
Hey, it all happens. We all have those struggles. None of us here are really math majors, I don't think. We're all people of other talents. We can
It's
yell
3-3.
We can yell loudly into microphones and make somewhat tolerable puns at times. So I think that's a skill that's worth competing with math.
Yeah, sure. It's taken me this long to get forward to it, but what a map regardless. The DPS difference, man, that was the story of that match. Great DPS play coming out on both sides. Really though, Ripple was the difference maker this time. On Rialto, it was Jupe. On this map, it was Ripple. Mata, Scoldy, both playing really well, but just not quite there on this one. we saw, you know, a couple of kind of questionable decisions, but nothing too bad. And Chis, I think you've infected me with the seed of doubt, but I'm pretty sure we are going into a map 7 here, and it is tied 3-3. So I'm putting this one squarely back on you. I don't know what
Shoot.
they're teaching you out there in New Orleans, but it's all on
It
you.
certainly isn't math, I'll tell you that much.
Fair enough. LSU is all about football. Anyway, we'll see what we're doing here. I know you didn't go to LSU, but this is the first place, you know, my mind goes to when I think of Louisiana. Not under the New Orleans
That's
Saints,
fair,
but
yeah.
you know, going into round 66 or Route 66, should we say? And it's a cracker. I wish I could tell you who I thought was going to win here, Chis, but I legitimately can't. Like, if you asked me to make a prediction right now, I think I'd give it to Cracked Crackers, but maybe Flying Gorillas, they're not out of this. This is literally about as close as we've seen so far, and we're getting started. There's no holding out.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be very back and forth here. And like we've been saying all night, it will come down to who wins those duels on the DPS side. So I'm very interested to see what we're going to get from both teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see an Ashe on both sides. But then it really comes up to Scoldy and Jupe and whether or not they try to mirror and go Tracer.
Woo!
We see McCree's or Genji's. There is a lot of room here for, you know, some creativity. And I'm excited to see how things shape up. And like I was saying, out the gate, there are the Ashes. We're actually going to see a Mercy on the side of Flying Gorillas here. Scoldy opting for the Hanzo, whereas Jupe is going to go for that McCree and then Cordal on the Brig. But our Baptiste specialists are definitely there at the moment.
Telling you what, though, just you're feeling that energy right now, right? It's boiling in here. Like, this is gonna be something. These two teams have literally been at each other's throats this entire time. It has been punch after counter punch after big punch, just reeling haymakers this entire time. And now we're coming down to the final set, and let's see what they do. It's an aggressive first point hold here by the Flying Gorillas. That can bite you pretty easily.
Absolutely, but it looks like they really want to contest early. It's almost like they want to try and full hold them here on Route 66. We're going to see Juke, though, dive right into the DPS and get a lot of damage out there. Scoldy in a lot of trouble, and he goes down immediately to Ripple. Ripple, though, getting a little pressure, but not enough to stop that onslaught from the Ashe. Juke, Bryax are just going to clean things up here, and it's just Hooks now dancing on the point, doing what he can, but yeah, not much really going on there. And kind of questionable decision there, wouldn't you think, Corbec, to hold that far up?
You know, it's one of those things. It's a gamble. You win or you lose, and I mean, I don't know. There's a room for calculated risk in strategy, and that was one. I wouldn't have done that if I was in their position. I would be more cautious about it, but they're going to get a rather recontest here. I don't know that it set them back significantly far. What should be worrying them more is just how decisive that loss was. The Cracker boys, they want this. They're hungry.
Absolutely, and you see that Dynamite come out, isn't going to get anyone. Jupe now going to pressure that high ground, but Hux and Matamata are there to push him down. And Matamata there with a nice damage boost headshot on a Ripple to take him down. Bryax going to trade things out, but Cordal and Cameroon are in a bit of trouble. However, Jupe to the rescue will take down Ron Guy. Bryax to the Immortality Field to give a little more beef there and keep things going, but nice job here. However, Q2 dishing it out. Chicken on his last legs. He's going to survive, but it looks like they're going to keep this fight going. However, Q2, nice with another pick before finally getting eliminated by Chicken. However, Scoldy had something else to say about that. Juke with the blade right now, doing the damage he can, but again, this still hasn't ended. We're seeing both sides just kind of duke things out, and finally, it looks like we'll get some stabilization and a rock to the face for the side of Flying Gorillas.
What a crazy series of events that was. They nearly had that point cleared out. They throw in the windows. Not a lot of value derived from them. You saw the blade pop at just about the same time that Hux threw out his Gravitic. And Hux actually gets ripped out of the air. The Gravitic really doesn't go off. But by that point in time, the DPS had come back. They had stalled enough that they were able to turn that one around. And now, you know, the momentum shifting like the wind in this one, Chiss, as they begin their attack.
Absolutely, and you're seeing a nice molten core now coming out from Scoldy, who's going to have to back down to get out of that line of sight from the bongo that came out from Chicken. We're seeing him finally pick off two, actually. Scoldy's turret and Goo are going to do some major work for him. The only value we're seeing out of Crackers here is that Juke finally kills Bob, but at the end of the day, that's not the most impactful of picks. Oh, Scoldy!
Oh, no, Scoldy, you cad. You cad and you bounder, my good man. Pulls out the hammer and smacks his own daughter down with it. That's a little rough.
Man.
That's a little rough.
In a grand finals, no less. I feel for you, Cordal, who's been hammered onto the mercy now. No more Brigitte for the side of Crackers.
Yeah, oh man, save it for Springer. That family conflict. Beatdown Bongo coming out early on, Chiss. They're gonna have to. Oh, look at that Gravitics!
And that's gonna take down Matamata. However, Spark Chief will trade things out here, and Matamata's dynamite actually gets from the grave. Q2 and Hooks are gonna clean things up here, and Chicken is running, but too little, too late. He actually gets that Mega Pack, but at this point, you question that decision because he's just become an ult battery, and he's now staggered himself even longer. And it looks like they're really investing. Oh my god. That's a major miscalculation from the side of Crackers. I mean, those tanks trying to get out and then using that immortality field, they can't even get a touch.
Oh, no.
Major miscalculation.
Oh, not
there.
like this for them. This is terrible. That was honestly 3-3 with your back to the wall. That is about the worst thing that could have happened to them coming out of the door, because now they don't just have to get a first point hold, they have to get a first point hold and some change. Absolute disaster, and you felt the momentum being sucked out of them, like a just breath being sucked out of their lungs right there, because they just stopped. It was like a Reinhardt getting hit with a Mayfreeze. There was nothing they could do. The whole thing got pinned. It's back to the drawing board, and God, boys, get your heads up. You know, you got to have them up for this, because this is going to have to be the hold of your lives right here, if you want to turn this around.
Yeah, and Jupe actually opting to come out on that Torbjorn as well, the same as we saw Scoldy do for the first time in the series, actually, but played phenomenally. Was getting picks with his ult, with his turret, and with his rivet gun and hammer. That's a full showcase of what Torb can do, and Scoldy putting on a bit of a clinic here. It'll be interesting to see if Jupe can get similar value, but also interesting to see where they opt to set up their first hold, and it's looking pretty aggressive out the gate as Chicken goes right for the train cars.
Yeah, this is not. Oh no. This is not what you want to do. You do not have the room to play around with this. Oh, this could be potentially disastrous here. This is ultimate confidence or ultimate conceit, one or the other, and Matamata getting blasted early on to start us off here in this match point, backs to the wall situation. It doesn't get any better than this.
The turret is going to go down there, which is going to be good, but shortly going to be placed again by Jupe as he's going to throw that down. Now we're going to see, though, a bit of a high ground battle here as Matamata is doing a nice job with Ryan to just maintain height. They're able to shoot down now, which is what you want. Much better angle to throw dynamite, to shoot, and Scoldy's going to take down Ripple. Ryan on fire a bit, but should be able to stick this one out. Q2 going to help out. Matamata cleaning up Portal, and there's the issue we were talking about. Now they're forced back quite a good distance, but safely away, so they should be able to get a good contest.
Oh, death by inches. Scoldy just can't be stopped. What a savage Widowmaker we're seeing.
Oh my god, and Hooks gets Camerooner, but Scoldy did a ton of damage there. And this is disastrous now for the side of Crackers. I mean, they're hardly going to be able to contest. They're going to have to really go now.
They're running out of time.
Yeah, they're not.
I don't even know if they can do this.
They can't touch. They actually can't touch.
Ball, get in there. Ball gets in.
Camerooner gets in there, but he's getting hammered.
Scoldy. It's all Scoldy.
It's a shooting gallery. It's an actual shooting gallery, and that's the grand finals. Flying Gorillas are your tier 5 champions.
Oh my lord, Chiss. On the back end of all that amazing play going back and forth on either side, Scoldy gets on that Widowmaker and decides that he's going to put the team on his back and carry him forward, and watch him go right here.
Oh! Oh
Oh,
my
just making it
lord.
look easy. Be still my beating heart.
My
Scoldy
lord.
winning his team the game at the end there. Amazing stuff on the side of the DPS. Absolutely amazing.
Unbelievable display there. I mean, we saw Scoldy get some success on Widow, but he just popped off. I mean, that is a grand finals performance like we've never seen. That was beautifully executed.
When they talk about clutch, when they talk about somebody stepping up in the jam, putting the team on their back, coming in on those big plays, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that was what they're talking about. Scoldy on the Widowmaker, stepping up to the plate, a beautiful window coming out from Q2, and Scoldy says, "Thank you very much. Let me show you what I can do with it." Gets the big picks and shuts it down, Chis. But honestly, what a series. Crackers might have lost this one, but they can walk away with their heads held high. They played arguably one of the best series that we've seen the entirety of this finals week. An instant classic on your hands right here, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, just well played to both teams. I mean, that was high level Overwatch at its finest. We were seeing incredible play from every position, be it the tanks, the supports, the DPS. I mean, the duels were phenomenal, the team play. Thank you guys for such a thrilling match, and thank you to all our viewers at home that tuned in to watch and support both of these teams.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you did not miss out. This was a spectacular game. Thank you for those of us who came, or for those of you who came over from CGL1 there as well. The final score in that match was Crazy 88's 4, Gliding Chimpanzees 1. In this match, however, it was Flying Gorillas 4, Crackers 3 there at the bitter end, and it was a heck of a game. More Overwatch, Xbox, NA, and EU finals action coming up for you tomorrow. We have a packed day. T6 finals and T6 EU finals coming at you tomorrow, as well as a T3 final and I believe a T2 final as well. So all sorts of games going off tomorrow, plenty of reason to watch. But I think that about wraps it up there for us. Thank you so much, Chis. Is there anything you want to add?
All I can do is say thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to CGL for letting me cast this absolute nail biter and exciting final. And you know what? Make sure that you guys go out and support Tier 6 tomorrow. Support console Overwatch because at the end of the day, we're all here because this is what we love. Thank you again. Thank you, Corbec, and thank you, Joker, for the excellent production all night.
Yeah, big thank you to Joker, who's been holding down our production, has been doing the lobby. You are an absolute star and a champion. He stepped up so much this week, Joker buddy. We cannot thank you enough for doing such a good job. And you got all those gift subs in chat, and that's great. I'm so happy for you as well. But thanks for coming in big. For all of us here at CGL, thank you so much for watching. Tune in tomorrow. We hope you enjoyed the Overwatch, and as always, have a wonderful evening and stay safe.